welcome to the stupidest, most fucked up, most COVID-infested podcast that's ever fucking existed since the dawn of humanity. I'm here with a very, very special guest that you guys have not seen and have wanted to see for a long time. I am here with Dr. Lusty!
Damn, man.
Holy shit, Lust. It's been like, dude, I was just telling you before the show, I checked to see when our last show was. November 18th of 2023.
It's been a while.
Can you believe that?
It doesn't seem that long, though. It really doesn't.
Dude, it was before, I don't even think I had filed a lawsuit yet. I think I filed my first lawsuit in like December of 23 or January of 24.
Yeah, and I probably had been to court like by like my 50th time by then.
A fucking lost, dude, getting in fist fights with cops and everything else.
Oh my god. Dude. Did I ever tell you what happened when I was like, I must have been like 23 or 24 and I got arrested by the cops? Like, I was walking into a bowling alley and the cops came up behind me and grabbed me. I didn't know it was cops. So when someone grabbed me, they grabbed my arms like this and I pulled out. And my first instinct was, I'm about to beat the shit out of this dude because they're weak as fuck, right? Without even turning around, I was like, this is a weak ass dude who just grabbed me. I turned around, it's a cop. And he goes, resisting arrest. I'm like, whoa, nope, not doing that. And then 3 cops jump on top of me and throw me to the ground. So I got arrested for resisting arrest.
The Lusty legends. The legends of the Lust, dude. Unbelievable.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
shit.
Yeah, that's the big difference between you and me that I don't think people really realize is that, like, so when I first put up my website in March, I think it was March 14th of 2022, I did a show with Lusty and his friend, like, right after that. When I say right after that, I mean, like, within probably a week or two. I did a very small show. You had a small show with, like, maybe 15 listeners, something like that, I think it was.
Yeah.
But it was, like, devoted. You had, like, a devoted little audience, right? And I was on the show, and I was telling you guys a little bit about what I had just released. And then after the show, you kind of said, hey, hold on a second. I want to talk to you for a minute about this. So after the show was completed, we started talking about my website, and I showed it to him and everything. And then he stayed up all night. Joe stayed up all night, didn't even sleep, and he read the whole thing. And it was the original State National Theory page. And basically what that page was at that time was it was just a compilation of, so I had read, huge stacks of books, basically, right? And I had taken little bits and pieces of what I thought was important from all those little books, and I wanted to create a free online resource. And that's what the State National Theory page was originally. It's crap. It was crap, but I didn't know that, and Joe didn't know that, and nobody knew that. And it was the best thing, I think, available at the time, but like looking back and seeing how far we've come since then, I mean, it's complete trash, basically. Very little of it was actually very useful, but it was the gateway into everything that we've been doing. So I think it's a special thing, and it's a special place in our heart. But yeah, Joe's kind of done his own thing ever since. He's one of those rare people who he was sending affidavits and doing all sorts of craziness literally within, I think, the next day. I think you were sending things out, or at least maybe 48 hours, but it was like 2 or 3 days maximum that you were already. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. You think you should? And you're like, no. I've been looking for this for 20 years, something like that is what you said. And because Joe has a huge background in difficulty with all of this kind of legal stuff and cops and all this kind of. I don't have any of that. I have like zero police-related anything. No, hardly. I think my whole life I've gotten 2 or 3 speeding tickets when I should have been arrested 450 million times for, going over 150 miles an hour. But for whatever reason, I just never had any issues. So,
I'm getting arrested for walking to a bowling alley.
Yeah. So it's a big difference. It's a big difference between the two of us. Right? So yeah, it's an interesting background as to kind of how all that went down and everything. And then now Joe has a school, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually I do. Well, look, I'm wearing the shirt for it right now.
Bam! Look at that, dude.
Yeah.
Lady Liberty.
Liberty Foundation, and maybe later I'll show you a little bit what's going on in the school. I'll show you.
I'd love to. Do you own the Yankees too? They get the hat on.
No, I don't.
Have you bought them yet?
Not yet. No, I'll go down there with like a negotiable beer can and.
Hey, now we're talking negotiable beer. I forgot about that, dude.
Oh, that's too good.
Can you believe it's been 2.5 years since we've been talking about negotiable beer cans, dude?
Oh my god. Oh, mattress. The mattress. A ratty mattress. Straight to the order of.
They're like old wrappers, like rotting, like McDonald's wrappers. And you're like, all right, I'll buy the Yankees. Hold on a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, yeah, it's been a crazy road. So Joe and I first met in New York City. I was looking for a place to live because I was coming to work for the church, and Joe was nice enough to let me live on his couch. He had a pad with a couch, and I had nowhere to go, and so I was living on his couch, and he had this garage downstairs that was filled with tons of people's shit that basically had abandoned it over the years. And when I say filled, I mean literally to the ceiling. There was a little walkway that you could walk through, and that was it. And it was terrifying. So in exchange for sleeping on his couch, I told everyone in the house that, hey, if I clean that garage out and I convert it into like a little apartment or something like that, can I stay here for free? And you guys were like, oh yeah, like you thought I was crazy, you thought I'd never do it, whatever, because you just met me, right? And so I spent, 2 weeks, like 10 hours a day, something like that, 9-10 hours a day for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And just cleaning out that garage, and I was going down the street and selling stuff at this little pawn shop. And then this random guy came out of nowhere. He like opened a door. He's like, hey, what are you doing with those records? And I was like, I'm going to sell them. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I'll buy them off you. I'm like, all right. Just like very random shit was kind of going on during that time period. And I cleaned out that whole garage, converted it into a studio, and then you guys just said, yeah, you guys can stay here as long as you need. And I think I stayed with you guys for at least 3-4 months, something like that, or whatever.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And Lusty and I hung out every night and smoked cigarettes and played guitar on the balcony and talked about philosophy. We talked about spirituality. We talked about, whatever, for probably 1 to 2 hours every single night. I think 7 days a week at that time.
Yeah.
There's an old video of us sword fighting online somewhere. I forget where it's at, and that was actually in the garage that I had cleaned. And then we actually took swords to the Quick Check, which is like a 7-Eleven. And we wore trench coats and called ourselves Highlanders. And we would say there can only be one. And we would sword fight in parking lots. And we had these little scooters. And what's funny is that I think we found the scooters and the trench coats in the garage. I found tons of shit in the garage. Not the swords, though. The swords were yours. But everything else I think I found in the garage. I found TVs. I found, I think, an N64. I found 2 sofas. I found a heater. I found tools. I found, so much stuff. So I literally built out this whole apartment with all the shit that I had found. I was buying you guys cigarettes with the money I got from selling shit. I'd buy cigarettes and bring it back.
Yeah, I haven't smoked a cigarette in about 15 years.
No. Are you serious?
Yep. Yeah.
So that would have been 2010.
Or 2012.
The very end of 2010, the very beginning of 2011 is when I was with you.
It was at the end of 2011, the beginning of 2012 is when I quit. And then I haven't had a cigarette since.
No shit.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
Fucking Lustinator, dude. So what's been up, dude? It's been 2.5 years. What's been going on?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think I got arrested. Okay, shocker.
Hey.
I had gotten arrested for driving around with my DOT plates.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they had.
What kind of plates were they again? They were the black ones with the weird like crown symbol on it. Was it diplomatic?
No.
It wasn't my plates. That's why I wanted to say.
No, it wasn't those. It was just just the plates, like
just
white,
the number. That was it, with white with
the
black
number.
letters. Okay,
that's all. Yeah, there was nothing else to it. It just said US DOT. That was it. Just very simple.
Oh,
plate.
I remember those. Yeah, yeah.
I did it because nobody was paying attention. Right? It's not too flashy. It doesn't give off any weird signals or anything like that. It just looks like a plain regular plate. Not trying to draw attention. I drove around with that for maybe 9 months. Then I got stopped. Cop pulls me over. But here's the thing. They were looking for me. Right? Because the cop turned his lights on before he even passed me. He was coming, like I'm going this way. He's coming this way. And he turns his lights on. Right? And then he stops, turns his lights off, comes back around, turns his lights back on, and pulls me over. Right? And I'm like, and he comes to the passenger window and he goes, I need your license. I need your license. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, just give me your license. Give me your license. I'm like, man, this guy's like license hungry. What's going on here? Right? Like he just wants. So I gave him a card that said, hey, this has everything, all the information you need on it. I said, I'll give you everything you need once I have counsel present. Right? I said, I just need legal counsel. I'll give you everything you need. He goes, oh, so you want ID? You're under arrest. I'm like, no warning? He's like, nope. And then the other cop grabbed me and pulled me out of the car and handcuffed me. So while they handcuffed me, they found a few of these in my pocket.
Damn, the killer lust.
Right, you just told everyone I own a bunch of swords.
That's true, I did, yeah. And you wear them under your trench coats. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
People see Joe coming and they think he's what do you call it, a flasher. But he's not actually a flasher. He's actually a Highlander. Big difference. Big difference.
So I got 5 felony charges for having pocket knife. Right? They used
bastard.
Yeah. Concealed weapon.
I hope they throw away the key forever on that one. That's terrible.
Well, they concealed weapon. They gave me a felony charge, possession of a weapon, intent to harm persons or property. It came out to 5 charges. One was, they tried to get me on counterfeiting the plates. That was one of the charges.
Oh, beautiful. There you go.
So they tried to do counterfeiting on me, and I was like, all right, well, okay, so let's fight this thing, right? First thing I did was I wrote in a termination power of attorney. I said, I'm going to terminate my power of attorney with the state. I'll be holding court impropriate persona. And I sent that to the county with another letter and a notice, and then they came back. I got nothing back from them, from the county, because these were felony charges. It goes to the county court, doesn't go to municipal court anymore. So the county took over the case. They were going to see the trial. My wife, being who she is, very supportive of me, said, I'm going to come with you to your court cases, And I showed her all the paperwork, and she's looking at it. She goes, you think this is going to do anything? I said, it's not going to hurt. She's like, all right, whatever. We go to court. When, we're sitting out there waiting, and finally they open up the doors to let everyone in. Everyone starts walking in. We go in. And when we walk up to the door, the woman stops me at the door. She didn't stop anyone else before me, but she stops me at the door. She goes, excuse me, hold on. What's your name? I'm like, my name? She's like, yeah, what's your name? I'm like, do you want my name or the defendant's name? She's like, okay, what's the defendant's name? I said, okay, good. So the defendant's name is, I gave her the name. And she goes, she does this. This is what she does. She goes, that case isn't ready yet. Can you come back next week? Just come back next Monday, and then we'll do the case then, okay? I'm like, she goes, I'll tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. We'll give you a call and let you know to come in next Monday, okay? But we'll give you a call. Like, just come in next Monday if you don't get a call. I said, okay. All right. My wife's like, is that normal? I'm like, no. That's very unusual. They knew who I was right away, right? They knew who I was before I walked in. That's why they stopped me.
They felt the lust when you came in the door. They felt the energy of the lust, dude.
That's right, yeah. So next week, my wife takes off of work to come with me. She goes, okay, I'm going to take off of work next Monday. We'll go, right? And so we're on the way over to the courthouse, and I get a phone call. And it's the woman from the clerk from the court. And she goes, yeah, don't worry about coming in. We're not going to try that case. So that case is all gone now. Don't worry about it. I said, are you sure? She's like, yeah. Those charges are gone. We're not worried about that anymore. That case is off of our thing. That's gone. We've dismissed it. I was like, oh, okay, great. Thank you. She's like, yep, no problem. Have a nice day. So I turned to my wife and said, hey, look, now we got a whole day we can spend with each other. So we had a date day. It was nice, right? Then about a month later, I get a letter from, by the way, I got arrested. The arrest happened in March, like March, I think it was March of 2023. The court date was for July 2023. That's when they called me and told me not to come into court. So I had to wait from March to July. Now in New Jersey, it's 60 days to bring an arraignment to someone under felony charges. They have 60 days to bring it. So I have at first thought, well, maybe that's why they did it, was because they missed the 60-day window, right? And they, so I was like, all right, that's it. Or I think it was a 90 day. No, it's a 60-day window. They didn't bring it within the 60 days. So I said, all right, the case is gone. Really is the thing. Plus, there's no corpus delicti, right? There was no injured party. They're claiming all these felony charges without any injured party at all, right? You can make the same argument with the traffic stuff, but the municipal courts are a bit different. They're really nasty about that. So I said, okay, but it was about a month later, maybe a month later, the beginning of September, I get a letter from this town court telling me I had to appear in court for their stuff. And I'm like, what the? I was like, what? So I was like, I'm looking at this and I go, but they can't see this case. It was already dismissed. And I'm looking at the charges, and sure enough, they're trying to charge me with the felony charges. I go, well, that's actually, even by their own statutes, that's illegal. They can't do that. So I wrote a motion to dismiss, citing the statutes of why they couldn't see the case. And let me see if I can pull it up, if you want me to. I'll see if I can.
Why not Lust?
I'll pull up the motion to dismiss.
So this motion to dismiss is from like August or September of 2023?
We will see, because I don't remember.
Because that was almost the last time we did a show. Almost.
Yeah.
Going back in time in the lusty mind to a lustier zone.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to cut some of it out because it does have some private information on there that I want to share.
Private, lusty information, dude?
Yeah. But and there are certain things. Hold on, I'm going to do certain things to this. Let me sanitize this a little bit.
Yeah, I'll talk while you're doing that. So, 2023 November. On my end, that would have been that was right around the time when I realized that we are not getting anywhere without any litigation. It's just not going to happen. I've tried and everyone's tried, and it's a complete waste of time. And that's when I had hired that dude who kind of screwed me over, and that's when I met Joey. I think I met Joey in November of 23. And then in December we started working together, and then that's when I think Williams & Williams Law Group was born, right around that same time period. And then we filed our first case in, I think, December or January. And then we had, by March or April, we had 3 or 4 cases going. And, that was kind of like the beginning of the whole shift over to everything. And then all through 24 was all just litigation, just tons of litigation, just banging my head against the wall trying to figure out how to get any of the litigation to work. And then 25 was me realizing that I'm missing something, whatever I'm missing. And then I spent all of 25 pretty much looking up case law. That's when the Treatise on the Word Person was born. That's when my book was born. That's when the sole prop, I realized that the sole prop was actually the all caps name in December of 24. And that was the last video that I had made on the 2.0 course, the post-course video number 2. The last video that I had made was in December, talking about the sole prop and stuff like that. So moving into 25, everything shifted over to the sole prop, and then I did the treatise on the word person in April, and then released my book in October. Kind of stepped away from a lot of the litigation because I was trying to just read case law and put together all the case law on the case law resource page as well as on the treatise. And then 26 coming out the gate strong with my City of Glendale round 3, putting everything that I had been working on and everything that I had been studying in 25 to use. And so we're I'm kind of full circle back to sort of like a litigation phase after having been away from it on like a break for quite some time, just doing research and trying to understand what went wrong with all the litigation that we had. I think that's a pretty good overview of everything since that time.
A lot of stuff, man. It's so I'm going to show you the motion is actually very simple. Okay, it's not a lot to it, and then
you can share screen on the bottom.
I found it. Okay.
And then do entire screen probably.
I'm gonna do this thing because I don't. Yeah, but you'll see. I just redacted some of the information on here because some of it I feel is a little.
It looks like we got this from the DOJ. The Epstein files. Did you see the Epstein files?
Oh yeah.
It looks like the Epstein files. Right? It's just one word, just complaint is all that's left. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
but look at how I write all this stuff. If this is exactly what you're talking about and telling everybody, is like we're talking about the sole prop, and I'm the grantor and authorized representative for the DBA. That's how I always do all the paperwork like this because this is all documented, recorded. Like they know that this is a DBA. Like they can't even make the argument. All right, and I have a DBA for every version of the name that they used. This name, the middle name being used, where the name's backwards, where it's last name, first, middle. I do a DBA for every single version of the name, so that way they can't come after me and say, well, we got you on this name, because I do that one. But I tell them I'm the grantor. I notice that I only use the first and middle name, because I realize that under the feudal system, the last name is the one that's the birthright thing. That's your feudal name is that last name. That's how you tie it into the system, right? So, and then the case number's on there and stuff like that. But this is the brief in support of motion to dismiss, right? Lack of subject matter jurisdiction. This is what I put into the municipal court.
Wait,
right?
this the actual motion to dismiss, or is this a reply brief in support of another motion to dismiss?
No, this was the brief. This is the brief in support of the motion to dismiss. But I did the motion to dismiss with this. I just don't know.
Oh, I see.
I didn't know where that was, and I didn't want to waste time looking for it. So.
Oh, okay.
But so that I did this, right? And this is the authorized representative for the name by special appearance, sui juris, and propria persona, by motion in this court for dismissal. And this is this is the rules for New Jersey court rules, right? Pursuant to, this is the revised statute. RS means revised statute. 2B, which is the book number, that's criminal code, chapter 12, section 18. So that's New Jersey statutes, 2B, chapter 12, section 18. And it says, jurisdiction of specified offenses where indictment and trial by jury are waived. A municipal court has jurisdiction over the following crimes occurring within the territorial jurisdiction of the court, where the person charged waives indictment and trial by jury in writing and county prosecutor consents in writing. And this is the only time that the municipal court has these kinds of jurisdiction over these kinds of cases. Crimes of the fourth degree, chapter 17, 18, 20, 21 of Title 2C, right, of the New Jersey statutes. Or crimes where the term of imprisonment may be imposed does not exceed 1 year. So they can do anything that's less than a year of imprisonment. They're trying to give me 13 years. So A and B, both things right there, can't do it. This complaint number charges 2C291A. Doesn't fall under there. Right? 2C395D. Not in there. Right? See, because this is 29, there's no 29 in here. 39, no 39 in here. And then 21 is right here. But it has to be 4th degree. This is a 3rd degree charge and not within the jurisdiction of the municipal courts. There was no waive of a trial by jury, nor were any other rights waived. So it is a 90-day. I kept thinking 60, but it's a 90-day arraignment requirement. Okay? Now, this is the thing. This is the key thing that really made the judge blow up, was that I didn't use the statutes here. I used the actual enacted law, the act, right? Citing that it's showing this in the law. This bypasses the statutes every single time. If the statutes are different from the enacted law is the one they have to treat as true, and the statutes are just evidence of law. So when they say, oh, this statute says this, and I go, well, the enacted law says this, it's different. That's the same thing with positive and non-positive law in the federal codes, right? Positive law means it was enacted as written. Non-positive law means that there's alteration to the statute at large. But this is the Senate number, right? So I cited the Senate Act right here. And that a defendant who has been charged with a crime and for whom pretrial detention is ordered pursuant to Section 5 and 6 of this policy, pending before a legislator on this bill, shall not remain detained in jail more than 90 days on that charge prior to this return of indictment. If the defendant is not indicted within specified 90 days, the defendant shall be released from jail upon motion of the defendant or in the court's own motion, right? According to New Jersey's above enacting clause, prosecutors have strict timeline to present evidence to a grand jury and seek indictment against a defendant. 90 days, right? No extension. This 90-day window is non-negotiable. Prosecutors cannot request an extension and delay the process beyond this time frame. So in accordance with the New Jersey court rules, lack of jurisdiction over subject matter, and this act and this statute, which was codified here, I have motioned the court to dismiss the above complaints with prejudice. There was no waiver of trial by jury, nor were any other rights waived. This 90-day window has expired. And then here, just so they know what I'm talking about, like if they try to say this doesn't make any sense, because they've tried that with me before, I tell them what calendar I'm using, what languages I'm speaking, and what dictionaries that language was derived from. And the reason why I do that is so that way they can never claim that it doesn't make any sense. Say,
yeah, they love to do that to me too. It's so fun.
But that's why I always stick that on. I stick that on there all the time. If you ever see paperwork going around that has this on there, it came from me. Right? Because I've had people send me stuff. They go, what do you think of this? And I'm like, well, I wrote it. So.
It's like, oh, that looks pretty lusty there. I think, oh, that's right, because I wrote it. I wrote it. That's why.
So what I did was, because they kept changing the name on me, I went and got a DBA for that name as well. That name is a DBA. That name is a DBA, and there's other versions of it too. But I show I'm a grantor authorized representative, commercial business name DBA, doing this. And I even got a CAF number, which is a power of attorney number over those names. Right?
Very interesting.
Yeah. And I tell you, the judge she looked at it. This is funny because when the prosecutor looked at this, he goes, "No, this makes any sense." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what don't you understand?" And he goes, "Well, you're talking about chapters here, and then you're talking about titles here." And I go, "Okay, so a title is a book, and inside the book there are chapters, right? So the book is called 2C because it's part of the criminal code. And then you have chapters 17, 18, 20, and 21. And that's what the municipal court can see, right?" And I said, "Does that make sense?" And he goes, "Whatever, dude." Because he was trying to gaslight me. I'm like, "Come on, man. You can play that game with so many people out there. You can't do that with me. I'm sorry, that doesn't work on me." So
the bar cards.
That was
I think the best thing that I haven't done this myself, but it's been a long time since I spoke to a bar card. I think the last time I spoke to a bar card was probably in my meet and confers back in 24. But yeah, now I'm very well aware of the whole playing stupid thing, and I'm gonna just ask them straight up. I'll be like, "Are you acting stupid or are you actually stupid?" That's the exact question I'm going to ask them, because that's actually the clarity that I need. That's actually what's so frustrating talking to them, is you can't figure out, are you acting dumb or are you actually dumb? Because if you're actually dumb, then you should pay me to make you not dumb. That's really the issue. I shouldn't be doing this for free. If you're acting dumb, then goodbye, this conversation's over. Why would I bother talking to you? You see?
Right.
It's so much simpler in my mind now than it was before, because when they'd act dumb, I would start to try to educate, or I would do this, or I would do that, and it's just like, no. You need to establish first if they're acting dumb or if they're actually dumb. Most likely it's the second, by the way. And when I say most likely, I mean it is. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where,
No, that guy was trying to. I think that guy really thought that I got that paperwork from someone else and was just trying to pawn it off his mind. So he was trying to trip me up on the stupidest thing, title versus chapter. I'm like, come on, man. Anyone who's read any laws knows what that is. Like, that's a simple, basic thing, But he tried to trip me up on the most elementary crap. Like, he didn't even try to challenge the paperwork. So the judge denied that motion. And when I asked her why, she screamed at me.
Oh, there you go.
She goes, your motion's going to be denied. I said, oh, for what purpose? She goes, this isn't going to go away, I said, oh. I said, okay, I'd still like an answer to my question, though. Why are you denying the motion? She goes, you better get a lawyer. Because these are serious charges. I said, I got that. I understand. I appreciate the warning. But I'd just like to know why my motion's been denied. She goes, look, what we're going to do, we're going to adjourn for today. She would not answer the question why. She just would not do it. Would not do it. Very frustrating. So she wouldn't answer the question why, but what she did was she did an adjournment, said, go get a lawyer, we'll come back and we'll do this another time. Right? So I did a writ of prohibition. I basically, that motion to dismiss is basically the writ of prohibition, except I added a little part to it. The only thing I added to it was saying that I just put in certain facts, right? Like I said, the petitioner was arrested and issued a number of complaints, traffic for alleged violations, received notice from the court saying that the defendant was needed to appear in court, and then the charges were moved around from one. They kept moving the court cases around, the dates. They kept moving it. They moved it to March 2025. Then they moved it back to October, right? Then they moved it to December. They kept kind of doing this wishy-washy thing because they didn't want me in the courtroom. And they were just trying to, I think they were trying to scare me into doing something else, right? So then I told them I tried to do a motion to dismiss. Here's a copy of that motion. The motion was denied without any explanation. And basically I wanted the upper court to explain, to halt the proceedings and find out why the municipal court was bringing in 5 charges that it technically could not see. Right? And the upper court never really responded to it. They said, we got your information. We'll get back to you on a ruling on that. And they never, to this day, they've never have. But the upper court, the lower court kept bouncing my dates around. So what I did was a writ of quo warranto. These books are powerful, man. Okay? This book right here is where the writ of quo warranto comes from. Okay?
American jurisprudence.
American jurisprudence. These are the forms. So lawyers don't have to be smart. All they have to do is have the right books, and they have everything they ever need to try every case. They don't need to be intelligent. All they need to know is procedure, and all the books do all the work for you. So I went through this book, and I found in here, okay, it's a writ of quo warranto. It's form 97 in this book, right? And this one says, I don't know if you can read it.
I mean, it's pretty clear, but it's small, and I mean, it's a lot. But
all right. So anyway, it just says ousting corporation from exercise of franchise, dissolution of corporation, and appointment of receiver, right? And it says that if the city or county or even the state is in violation of its charter, right, then what happens is it can be dissolved. And that's exactly what I did.
Oh, that's right. You were talking about dissolving the corporate charter of the city.
That's right.
That would have been funny.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna let me do that?
Local. I can see the news headings now. Local New Jersey man, Dr. Lust shuts down city.
I'm gonna see if I can find this one, the writ that I did, because this scared these guys, man. I'll tell you, they were. I'm not finding it.
You got to put this stuff on school or put a website up or something. That's how, because I'm able to find everything so easily for my shit because it's all public. It's all organized for public access. So I just use my own public access for all my shit.
Well, I use my Rumble channel the same way. I'll go,
okay.
Wait, I made a video on that, and I'll go find it and then get the link and then go share the link of like the source of information.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm doing that on school now. So in school, what I'm doing is I have a mega folder, and then when I'm doing courses and stuff, and people are doing the courses, I'll have links to like certain access points in the folder, so that way they can get templates or resource material, so they can study outside of whatever's just in there.
There you go.
So yeah, the school is actually going to be set up way better, and I can't wait to show you because you're gonna dig what I did in school, man. You're gonna really like it. I know you're gonna.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. It's brand new. You just started it like what, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago?
I think I started in November at the request of like a handful of people. They said, "Can you make a school? We'd like to just do like the school is a really good platform. You should do that. I would love to do some of your courses." But I said, "All right, you know what? I'll do that for them." And then people just started to get wind of it, and I said, "You know what? I like this. This is actually a really cool app. I have a lot of control over how the courses flow and stuff like that." I said, "I really like this. This is really, really good." And I can't find this writ, but this writ is what scared them, because what I did was I found the charter where the city promised it would uphold the laws and the Constitution, the state Constitution and federal Constitution. And I cited about 17 rights of mine that were violated by this court, right? Not just from the statutes, but from the state Constitution.
What year was that oath or whatever, that charter? What year was that document?
It was I think their thing was 1895, but it came from an 1871 thing. I gotta find this writ, man. I'll tell you what. Once you see this writ, this thing was awesome. I think it's called New Writ, actually. Let me see. I think I called it New Writ. Because I wrote a bunch of different ones, and I was trying, man. I'm telling you, I was all over this thing for a while, and I wrote this one, and I was like, this thing is crazy. I can't hand this in. So I just kept trying until I found it, until I got it. And this helped. This is where I got, I wrote it like this. Once I found this form, I used that, and that's how I worked off of it from there.
The fucking Lustinator, dude. And this was what? This was November of 23? This was the same time we did our show last? Is that what it was?
This was, well, I'm looking at the writ of prohibition now, and the writ of prohibition says May 15th, 2024.
Oh,
July
wow.
2024.
Okay, so we're at 24, okay.
Then they tried to do the charges March 2025. By March 2025, the whole thing was done anyway. Or no, July. It was July where it was the day before my birthday. They dropped all the charges.
So this went on for over 2 years.
Yeah, it started in May 2024, not March. So I made a mistake there. It was May of 2024.
But the original municipal charges started in 23, right? Or no, you're saying 24.
24, yeah, 23.
Oh, so none of this had happened yet by the time we did our last show.
Right.
So since our last show, this all happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm tracking with you. So 24 to 25 for 1 year, you were dealing with intent to mass murder with a pocket knife, and then driving a weapon of mass destruction using a illegal fictitious death plate. That's basically what.
Death plate.
Death plate. Deathplate.com.
I could go. I'll go to the guitar later. We'll do a Death Plate song.
Dude, yeah, I have to tune my. I haven't, dude. I don't think I've touched my guitar since the last time you and I jammed out on a show. So we can do some jam out.
I got a 7-string now.
Ooh.
So we can get some real heavy, low stuff now.
I'll have to tune my guitar because she hasn't been touched in so long. She's like a
you got to touch
neglected woman. I know, yeah.
Ah, man, it's gonna drive me nuts. I gotta find this thing because this thing was it. You gotta see they wrote this thing on like old school yellow paper, right? I had to do so much digging to find that charter. Because you need that charter for this.
How'd you find it? You went to the county recorder or like the local law or something?
I did a lot of stuff. I ended up finding it on the city's website on a random page.
No shit.
I was like, what? I was like, this is it. I was like, I can't believe it. I found it on a random page. It blew my mind.
If someone was in Discovery, this would be a great question to ask. If you can't find stuff like, the original charter or whatnot, because I'm kind of in Discovery mode mentally right now. I just put up a video yesterday breaking down all of the Discovery in my case. This is my first time ever doing Discovery, but it's gotten me really thinking. It's sort of like if you can't find a lot of the stuff and you're getting sued or you're in any sort of litigation, you can ask for this stuff. There's these things called form interrogatories, which are like pre-built interrogatories. Mm-hmm. A lot of that information is actually on the form interrogatory. There's little questions like, are you an associated corporation? Are you an LLC? Are you this? Are you that? And you just check the box of each question you want them to answer. And they have to answer it. So a lot of the stuff can be dug up pretty easily. Depending on where you're at. If you're in state court, it seems like Discovery seems to kind of activate more automatically, whereas in federal court you have to actually get approval to get into Discovery, which was always impossible for me. I wasn't able to figure out how to get that done. So being in state court, it's the first time I've ever done like an actual Discovery, and it's pretty awesome. It's pretty exciting. I'm very excited about it.
The state court. I've had so much problems with state court, but federal court seems to be a lot easier. Like when they took my car, I sued the tow company in federal court, and I even put things in there that he was acting as a law enforcement and stuff like that. The guy freaking dropped the car off right here. He just brought it back. Right? He's like,
I've had a couple guys comment on my shit and be like, "Oh, I'm a tow truck driver. I've got 5 sovereign citizen cars sitting in my lot right now," and I'm always like, "It ain't my people." Because if it was my people, you'd be getting knocked by the processor. You wouldn't be sleeping, brother. I'll tell you right now, you wouldn't be sleeping.
Let's see.
These tow truck drivers have never had their shit rattled. I can tell. I've talked to a few of them. I personally, not to be mean to you or anything like that, because I know you were probably dealing with a lot of shit. I don't think that these tow truck drivers should get off so fucking easily. They shouldn't be able to drop off the car. If they try to drop off the car, I'm not accepting it. Oh, no, I don't want the car. It's yours now. I'd much rather have this lawsuit and destroy every single, micrometer of the entire fabric of your entire existence. Because I would do a 2-pronged attack if you took my car. It'd be lawsuits, civil lawsuits, but it would also be a massive public PR smear campaign. I'd be digging into your background. I'd be, if I can hire a private investigator, I'd be following you around, finding out what do you do after work, what do you do before work, where do you live. I'd be building entire exposés about every little aspect of. I mean, I would literally probably drive you to like borderline or possibly unalive yourself. That's probably where I would go. Just because it's just so unacceptable to think that you can just go and pick up someone's car. And I get that there's the certificate of title, and I get that, there's all that kind of stuff, and technically the state owns it, and yeah, we can go on and on and on. But I just don't care about any of that. As far as I'm concerned, that's just all fraud, and you are never going to be doing this again to anyone, and I will make sure of it. And I feel like if we had more people acting that way, we wouldn't have these kinds of issues. So,
All right, I found it. That's good.
All right, Lust, hit us with it. Hit us with the Quarento.
All right, so this is the Quarento, and this is where things got a little crazy. Okay. For them. So, all right, so now it's the state Supreme Court is in charge of all these writs. Okay, so I still do the same thing, grant or authorize representative for the DBA. This is against them. They're the defendant now. I flipped the whole thing. I'm an authorized representative. I'm the plaintiff, right? Human being, sui juris, right? For this case number, because in New Jersey, they don't do case numbers. They just go by ticket numbers and stuff. Unless it's like a really high case, then they give you a number.
Well, the ticket number is the case number, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. But they had all these different ticket numbers, so I had to use each one. So first thing I did is I introduced them as a business with their DUNS number, right? That's what they are. They're doing business.
Incorporated on January 15th, 1895. Look at that.
Yep, 1895 by the power and authority of Chapter CCLX, an act for the formation of borough governments, right? As per this is their actual legal name, Inc.
Cliffside Park, space Borough of Incorporated.
Yep,
That's
the actual name. And it says that the mayor and council shall have the power to make such bylaws and rules for their government as not inconsistent with the spirit and intention of this act, the Constitution and laws of the state or of the United States.
Fucking nice.
So Cliffside Park has a duty per the above in code law to uphold and protect the rights of the people. If they are not within the powers of the Constitution of the United States and the general laws of the United States and the laws of the state of New Jersey, they don't have any powers, and in violation of their corporate charter, they are a franchise. They promised that they would be within the powers of the United States and general laws of the state of New Jersey. And
did you write that, or did you get that from something, what you just read, the all caps? Did you write that?
Yes, I wrote that.
Oh, okay.
I based that on the writ of Quarento, right, off of that form. This is taken from the form, but this is my words.
Okay.
And then this is their thing. They petitioned for the formation of a borough government. Like I said, made on yellow paper, right? 1895 paper, handwritten. Well, this was typed and then it was signed here.
Typed on a typewriter, yeah.
Yeah. Old school. But that's what they did.
It's interesting how they have the big margin on the left and the smaller margin on the right. That's the same way that they have you write for the formatting in California. It's a 1-inch margin on the left-hand side and a 1/2-inch margin on the right-hand side. I find that interesting.
Well,
probably to write in notes and stuff by the court and stuff like that. It's just something interesting.
Attestations and stuff like that as well. Yeah. So I've seen that before in other documents where you see like later on there's other notes and even notarization on the side, someone attesting that this is true. So that's their corporate charter. Right? Now, the New Jersey Constitution...
Does it say anything interesting or sus in there? Because I can't read it. We're not going to read the whole thing. But anything in there that's like talking about employees of the state or anything kind of that is a dead giveaway, anything in there that's like a dead giveaway for any of that kind of stuff?
No, not really. I mean, this is 1895. It's a little...
Citizens of the United States, anything like that? U.S. citizens? Any sort of terminology like that?
For this town or whatever, or for the borough. But no, it talks some more about
residents of the borough, anything like that.
I think it's just something like that. Let's see, John Nagel's land. It's talking about more about the property line of the place than anything else. And that
property line of the borough.
How it's outlined, where it's coming out of, because it was actually on another town called Ridgefield, and this town got basically cut out of what was once known as Ridgefield. Ridgefield is now a much smaller town. But it doesn't say anything too crazy in here. And that persons qualified to vote. So persons are voting in here, and not people. But that was
so it's 14th and 15th Amendment based. Yeah, of course, right?
Yeah. So this is the New Jersey Constitution. Every state officer, before entering the duties of his office, shall take and subscribe an oath or affirmation, right? Yada, yada, yada. Okay. So the jurisdiction on this writ is under common law. I am a man and one of the people, not a corporate entity, not under any statutory obligation, contract with my express consent. If there is any contract, that it is under a sub silento agreement made without my express consent. I have not waived any rights protected by the Constitution. Right? Legal grounds for the writ. Now, this is the interesting thing. There's a New Jersey statute that says the writ of quo warranto is canceled. Right? This is the funny part. The writ of quo warranto has not been canceled, and any New Jersey statute making the claim that it is canceled is without merit and void due to the New Jersey Constitution. Only can the New Jersey Constitution cancel any writ according to the Constitution. The New Jersey Constitution says only an amendment to the New Jersey Constitution can cancel any writs. And then they went and canceled it in a statute anyway.
They canceled. They canceled it in a statute.
Yep.
Oh.
Look, I put it in here. It's this is Article 11, Schedule Section 1, Clause 4. Except as otherwise provided by this Constitution, all writs, actions, judgments, decrees, causes of action, prosecutions, contracts, claims, and rights of individuals and bodies corporate and of the state and all charters and franchises shall continue unaffected, notwithstanding the taking effect of any article of this Constitution. They can't cancel the writ in a statute. It has to be done by a constitutional amendment only. This is the New Jersey statute that clearly makes an exception to the motor vehicle statutes, right here. If you're not for hire, then it doesn't apply. That's it. It's written right in their statutes.
Automobile, fire engines, and such self-propelling vehicles as are used neither for the conveyance of persons for hire, pleasure, or business, nor for the transportation of freights such as steam, road, rollers, and traction engines are accepted from the provisions of this chapter. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. That's the registration chapter. It's about registration. So if you don't fall under that provision, you don't have to have your car registered, which I don't fall under the provision. So I have this exemption in the state.
Yeah.
Right? Normally, an individual will only be permitted to seek judicial vindication of his own rights. Right? Okay? And then I slammed them with the corpus delicti. These are all New Jersey cases, by the way. Right? Corpus delicti rule requires that corpus delicti, or the body or substance of the crime, be charged, be proven independent from the accused extrajudicial confession or admission. The corpus delicti of a crime consists of two elements: the fact or injury, loss or harm, and the existence of the criminal agency as its cause. And then here's all the citings for that. It's a lot of cases, and those are all real. Right? There must be sufficient proof of both elements of the corpus delicti beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's 29A American jurisprudence. Proof of corpus delicti, the fact or injury in a homicide case of death by a criminal agency, may be supplied by direct or circumstantial evidence. Proof of corpus delicti is required in all criminal cases. There are three basic elements: the occurrence of loss or injury, criminal causation of that loss or injury, the identity of the defendant as the perpetrator of the crime. My whole case is built around the fact that there is no corpus delicti because there's no injured party in the first place. Right? They keep saying, you hear all these people, oh, those stupid people think that there doesn't need to be a victim. Yeah. Have you guys read any of these court cases? They've not read any of them. They have no clue. So this is all about that.
Well, a lot of it comes down to state citizenship versus U.S. citizenship, but yeah.
Right. So I use the state constitution here. All political powers inherent in the people. Government is instituted for the protection, security, and benefit of the people, and they have the right at all times to alter, reform the same whenever the public good may require it.
And basically the whole matrix, the whole system, the whole court system, they won't tell you this directly, but if they did just directly tell you what they were operating off of, they would say, yes, that's true, but we're not talking about people.
Yes, if they were being honest. They say,
if they were being honest, they'd say we're talking about persons. None of this applies. That's all irrelevant.
Exactly.
But instead, they just say irrelevant, and when you ask why, they won't tell you. That's how it works.
Yeah, of course. So that's the first one. I'm saying I'm one of the people. I have the power. Right? The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. That's the Fourth Amendment, by the way, for the federal Constitution. Right? So it's word for word exactly the same. but in New Jersey, it's Clause 7 of the Bill of Rights, Rights and Privileges section. No person shall be held to answer for a criminal offense. So here's all the things they violated. They violated this, saying I don't have a power to do these things, right? Like do the writ, or do the writ of prohibition, or do the motion to dismiss, right? They took me out of the car without probable cause. There was no, they arrested me. Like the stop was like 20 seconds, and I was in handcuffs. Like I just said, I'll give you whatever you want as long as I have legal counsel present. Out of the car, arrested. Right? No person shall be held to answer for a criminal offense. Right? In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall have a right to a speedy and public trial. They violated this. These are all the rights they violated. Private property should not be taken for public use. What would they do? They took my car, not my car. They took the trust car and they gave it to a public company for public use to make money off of. So I turned around and sued the company. I sued them, and then I put in a report with the FBI saying that these guys are acting as law enforcement and that they're taking private property for public use without just compensation. Well, that guy called me up screaming at me, going, "What are you trying to do to me, man?" I said, "I'm trying to do what's right for the trust. You stole the trust." We didn't steal anything. I said, "Well, when we go to court, you can make that argument in court." And then he found out it was going to cost him more money to get a lawyer than it would to just give me the damn car back, so he gave me the car back.
You're talking about the tow truck guy is the guy who freaked out on you?
With the owner of the company, yeah.
Great, they should be.
So he was like, "What do you want?" I said, "If you give me the car back, I'll drop the suit." He goes, "Drop it, I'll give you the car back." I said, No. Bring it. He's like, fine, come pick it up. I said, no, I'm not going to pick it up. You give it to me. And he goes, "What's your address?" So I gave him an address to drop it off at, and he dropped it off. And I pulled the court case out.
Did you pay for the court case, or did you do it in propria persona or whatever?
I did it in propria pauperis.
Pauperis. Okay, so they hadn't even approved the case yet because there's a whole application process.
I did the application.
And they approved it?
It was in the middle of that, but
it was in the middle of that.
Yeah, it was in the middle of that, so it wasn't done yet. But he already got notice. I think he got letters from lawyers, and they would see him in the case. "We'll take your case," and he's like, "What?" So,
you never sent him or served him anything because the case hadn't been approved yet in pauperis? Is that what it was?
Correct, but lawyers.
But he found out some other way. He found out through lawyers or something.
Lawyers like sending him like mail and stuff like that. Yeah, saying, "Hey, you have a case in federal court. We'd like to help you."
So you filed a case against the tow truck owner. What was the charge? What was the cause of action you used? Just like something simple like theft, just like really basic?
Yeah, I did theft because I sent him a bill saying he owed me money and that if he didn't return the car in 3 days, I would file criminal theft charges. But I had a bill. It was $5,000 a day for the rental of the car. All right. So he owed me $15,000 plus the theft charges. And then every day after the 3 days, it was going to be $10,000 for the car rental.
And how he was the one who came to the location where the cops pulled you over, and the cops told
him
to take the car.
I wasn't there at that point because I was already arrested by that point.
So you were gone, and you left the car behind, and then they just towed the car away with this guy, and then he had it held.
Yeah, and then I said I reached out to the police station saying, "Hey, there was a car that was taken owned by this trust. We need the information." They said, "Sure, you can get it out of impound. Here's the company name. Call them out, make arrangements." So I called him and I said, "Hey, I'm going to go pick up the car." And he goes, "All right, it's going to cost this much money." I said, "Oh, well, we're not paying that." He goes, "Well, you have to, or are we going to hold on to the car?" I said, "Well, actually, I have to." All right, I said, "I'll tell you what. All right, what's the address there? I'll send something over so we can get this thing going." And he goes, "Okay." So he gives me an address, and I mail him an invoice. And then I mailed him an invoice the next day. And then I mailed him another invoice the next day. And he's like, he calls me up. He goes, "Dude, you think I'm going to pay these?" I said, "Absolutely." He's like, "Dude, you're off your rocker. I'm not paying anything." He's like, "You have to pay me. You want your car back, you pay me." I said, "Do you even hear how that sounds?" if I want my own property back, I have to pay you for my property. I was like, that just sounds crazy. Imagine if I walked into your house and took your TV and I said, give me $200, I'll give you your TV back.
Yeah.
You'd fucking slap me in the face. You know? Like, I'm like, he's like, that's not how this works. I said, okay, all right. Well, I mean, I can get paid one way or the other. You can either willingly pay me or give me the car back, or I can sue you in court. He goes, you're going to sue me in court? Yeah, good luck with that. I said, okay. So I went and filed a lawsuit the same day. I got off the phone with him. I went and called Camden, and I filed a lawsuit in federal court.
And you also, you said you filed a criminal complaint with the FBI.
Yeah, I said that. I said, here's what he's doing. He's acting under color of law. He's acting as law enforcement. And I think they started investigating him. He freaked out. Because he's probably doing criminal stuff.
You filed with the FBI like online, or you sent in some paper or something?
I went online. I called the number and I said, hey, if I have evidence of a crime, where would I send it to? And they gave me an email to send it to. So I sent them that.
No shit. That's beautiful.
They just said, we got your information. Well, thank you. That's it. I never heard from them again. So they probably dropped it. They probably like, all right, there's nothing. We'll just leave it. Filed, whatever.
Huh.
So, and it says, a private corporation shall not be authorized to take private property for public use without just compensation first made to the owners. Well, the trust never got paid for the car being taken.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the other thing. So these are all the rights that were violated. This one, this one, this one. These are all protected by the state constitution, right, and the federal constitution. Then even the stupid codes themselves, and then of course the corpus delicti, right? Then when I talked about the franchise, corporations or body politics are the most usual franchises known to our laws. That's in that court case. A franchise is said to be a right reserved to the people by the Constitution, as the elective franchise, right? Again, it is said to be a privilege conferred by grant from government invested in one or more individuals as a public office. Okay. This is the DOT exemption, right? Which I said was, I didn't mention in here, but it was basically the exception to the occasional transportation of personal property by individuals without compensation or the furtherance of commercial enterprise. So you're exempt because you're not in commerce. So the requested relief was basically this. Defendant corporation, right, violated provisions of the act under which it was created, and it also violates provisions of the New Jersey Constitution, Clause 2, 7, 8, 10, 20, right? Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, Republican form of government, Amendment 2, Amendment 4, Amendment 5, Amendment 6, Amendment 7, Amendment 8, that's supposed to be Amendment 8, and Amendment 9. These codes, this New Jersey Administration Code, which is the adoption of 49 CFR 390.3T, F3, that's our DOT exemption.
Yeah.
All 50 states adopted it in their administrative code. I recommend, if you want to know how to stand on your rights with the state level of the DOT stuff, find it in your administrative code. It's in one of the administrative codes.
Mine says straight up in the California vehicle code that the code itself only applies to employees of the state.
Yeah.
Literally, like in black and white.
Just like the withholding stuff for the W-4s. W-4s only applied to like state and federal government employees.
Yeah. Trader business. Definition of trader business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Public office.
Yeah, so they forfeited its charter and become liable to be dissolved by the abuse of its power. All right, and when I sent this up to them, that's pretty much it. There was a little bit more, but I think I got the wrong one because I wrote more stuff. But that was pretty much it, and they took that kind of serious. You know, the state took that kind of serious, so I sent that in, and I didn't hear much from them. I actually called the governor's office. I sent them a copy of the writ. I said, hey, this is on file with the Attorney General. I sent this to the state Supreme Court. I just let you know that it seems like you might have some rogue agents over here in the municipal court. And the woman at the governor's office said, this sounds like a serious situation if this is true. I said, ma'am, I wouldn't lie to you. I'm not going to waste your time. So I would not be calling the governor's office unless it was serious. So the Attorney General took it. Something happened. They changed the court date from march to way earlier, and then they said, come in. I came in, and then they dismissed all the charges. And I haven't been stopped or bothered by anyone since.
And you even see those same cops when you're driving around. They see you, and they know what cars you drive, and they still won't touch you, right?
Yeah. The one cop I saw, with the cop who arrested me that day, right? I'm getting into the car. He does one of these things. He sees me, and he goes, right? Does that. And then I get in the car, I drive off, and he's just like doing that, like, is that him? Like, he's trying to do that. Is that guy?
Fucking
and then there was
nice.
another time he saw me getting into the car because I work at the library right next to the police station. So I go to the library and do guitar classes there. And so one day he gets into one of the cruisers and he's sitting in the car as I pass by. And I'm like, is he trying to run the plates? I think he's trying to run the plates, right? Because he went into the car and I was sitting there waiting for me to come by. And then he's like looking on the computer as I'm going by. I'm like, he's scanning the plates. And then he wouldn't come and get me. So
what kind of plate did you have on at that time?
The same plate I had last time. And he pulled me over.
The TOT. Oh my God. And this time I've got 16 pocket knives. I got 15 in the center console, and I've got 17 all over my body. I've got one up my ass. Now what are you gonna do, motherfucker?
Well, what I did was I realized the mistake I made was, I should be like, yo, I'm strapped, bro. You know?
Like this, dude? Like with your trench coat? Like fucking knives everywhere, dude? I got ninja stars. I got throwing axes. I've got chainsaws. I've got mini chainsaws. I've got,
shurikens.
Shurikens. I got it all, brother. I got it all.
But, but what I did was I went and I wrote a letter to the state and gave them a picture of the plate. And I said, if you have a problem with this, please let me know. Otherwise, this is what I'm going to be using. Here's all my exemptions as recognized by the New Jersey legislation. And I sent that to the DMV, and I haven't had a problem since. But I don't think it was that. I think it was the court case. And I think they knew that I had that number. They knew I was using that stuff, and they just said, forget it. Leave him alone. If he's not causing problems, we'll leave him alone.
Yeah, it's amazing how ignorant everyone is about this whole situation and how crazy it is. It's so unbelievable. And it's just amazing. Everybody thinks that state of California and all this kind of stuff is really the state. It's not the state at all. It's state of California is literally a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, and it has a very specific location. It has an address.
State of California is a U.S. citizen because if you look at 8 U.S.C. 1408A, any persons born or naturalized in the United States, right? So persons would be non-whites and legal fictions. So you have this legal fiction. And then also, like, for example, the EIN number of state of California begins with a 94. If it was foreign from United States, it would be a 98 EIN number. So
right.
You can presume, you can actually put a presumption on the record and say, because it's a 94 EIN, it's actually a domestic
Wait, what's the third number? Do you know what the third number is?
Third number for the after the hyphen?
Yeah.
No.
Damn. Because the first
6.
two numbers,
I think it's a 6.
If it's a 6, they're tax exempt. I found that inside the it's in the IRS internal.
Which is stupid because it's a U.S. citizen. It's not tax exempt. So that would be part of my lawsuit. Would be if I ever got sued by the state. Part of my lawsuit would be like, no, they're not tax exempt. This is ridiculous. I would
probably
go
shouldn't
after
be tax exempt. I have to look at it again. It might only apply to 98 numbers. The 6 or 7 would make it tax exempt.
Well, 98 is exempt regardless. It's foreign. It's not exempt. It's foreign. Totally different.
Like I'll have
exempt.
To show you. It's where is it? I have it. This is a cool document. I'm not gonna find it right now. It's just too much. It's too much for me to look for that.
Lusty, I got him looking up all this shit. He can't find nothing. This is so funny.
Well, I found the 3 things. I found the two things I wanted to show you. But those things are. Yeah. Anyway, they have to pay taxes. The 16th Amendment says the state has to pay taxes anyway.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous.
I love how
it's a
people
U.S.
go,
citizen.
Yeah.
It's a U.S. citizen.
And they have an address.
Yeah,
So,
the U.S. citizen has an address, yes.
So I remember the state was saying something to me about like some kind of like money thing, and I said, well, you're asking about money that was made in the state of New Jersey, correct? And they're like, yes. I said, oh, okay. Well, the state of New Jersey's address is whatever street in Trenton, New Jersey. Do you have any evidence of me being at that location making money there? Because that's where the state of New Jersey is located. And they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, that's the address. That's where state of New Jersey is located. I'm not in the state of New Jersey. And they said, well, if you're not a resident, then it doesn't apply. I said, okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, I don't live there. It's not my residence. And that was the end of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the first things I think after hearing what you have to say about this, if I was ever getting sued by the state, which would include criminal situation, is I would definitely want to get into discovery as quickly as possible and get a copy of that charter. And then I'd also want to get a copy of the SS4 that was originally filed to get the EIN number. The original SS4. Like if you have to subpoena maybe the IRS to get the original SS4, because on the SS4 it's going to have the address, the physical address. It's going to have the type of entity. It's going to have, is it a business? It'll say it's a business on there. So getting these kinds of documentation in discovery will be very, very helpful for, figuring all this out. And, by asking these kinds of questions and by using discovery to get all this information, it automatically kind of fixes the whole system, because these agencies are not going to want to sue anybody anymore, because everybody's going to be asking for SS4s and charters, and it's just going to be, death, essentially, to the entire corporate regime. And that's why I think what we're doing is so important, and the knowledge is so important, because, we're getting to a point now where, just a few questions, and we're extremely terrifying to these agencies. Absolutely the most dangerous people walking the earth. And we're just getting better and better and better. And as we learn more procedure and that kind of thing, it's just getting better and better and better. And I'm very excited about where we're going with this. It's very exciting.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff coming this way. It's getting more streamlined, easier. All answers are relatively simple. So we're just simplifying everything down to it becomes this very slick and smooth, running machine, well-oiled machine, so that way it's like, oh, here's a problem. Okay, this is what you do for the remedy. That's it. Boom, done, and it works.
It seems like the deeper I go, it's almost like you don't really need to do much of anything. People are always so concerned about what do you do at first, but I think as you start to understand who you are and where you are, which is usually the first two confusions that people have to figure out. People think that they're U.S. citizens. People think that they're in state of California. That's where I started, You find out you're not in the United States, you're not in the state of California, and you're not a U.S. citizen. That's so very shocking. And you don't have any money, and you never have had any money. So those are some very shocking, those are the first realizations. But kind of when you get through those realizations and you realize that you're a state citizen and you're in California, which is different than the state of California, you're not in the United States in the way it's defined in federal statute. The United States is actually a foreign zone that's under the direct control of Congress. It's actually not even part of the definition of the word state in relationship to the Constitution at all. The District of Columbia and any area under the direct control of Congress is literally not a state, according to the Constitution. But in the federal statutes, the states are all of the areas that are under the direct exclusive control of Congress, such as the District of Columbia, American Samoa, Guam. Like, for example, Alaska and Hawaii were both territories. And during the time that they were territories, I believe from the early 1900s to about the mid-1900s, they were actually states in federal statute. And you can even see some old federal statutes that haven't been updated. And they actually say under the definition of the word state, they say Alaska and Hawaii, and those need to be changed. Those need to be changed. That's false. That's actually old, outdated information. That was true before Alaska and Hawaii became states, but once they became states, they would no longer be under the definition of the word state in federal statute, right? So we have two separate governments. We have two separate systems. And the main issue that occurred that fucked everything up is there was no such thing as a citizenship class underneath the congressional zone until whatever, July 6th or July 9th of 1868, when supposedly, allegedly, the 14th Amendment was ratified, and that's what created this whole separate citizenship class that was underneath Congress specifically. And that's basically the exact point when everything became very confusing, because prior to that point, there was no need for really any federal statutes, because the federal statutes didn't really apply to much. It was pretty much just between the states or state-to-state related activities. And it was a much simpler period, because you have a state citizen of Utah and you have a state citizen of California suing each other in federal court. And the federal courts were really just to sort out those kinds of issues between two different citizens of two different states under the same union of the republic. But now you have this whole new thing with this whole new class. And there's even a case I added recently to the treatise. It was in 1805, talking about how a resident of the District of Columbia cannot sue a citizen of a state in federal court at all. And it makes sense, because how would you build a jury? How would you build a jury between, let's say, a state citizen of Utah and a U.S. citizen? How would you build a jury with that?
You can't. He doesn't have his peers in that courtroom.
There's no way to build a jury. And then also think about this. A U.S. citizen has only partially incorporated the Seventh Amendment, whereas a state citizen has the Seventh Amendment without the need of any incorporation doctrine or anything else. The area of the Seventh Amendment that has never been incorporated for U.S. citizens is the right for a jury trial in a civil case. So state citizens have the right to a jury trial in a civil case, whereas U.S. citizens do not. It was never reincorporated. So how in the hell are you supposed to take a citizen of California, such as myself, and a U.S. citizen? How in the hell are they supposed to sue each other? How are you going to build a jury off that? One has the right to a jury in a civil case, and one doesn't. And then one would have to be white citizens of California for a jury, and then the other one would have to be U.S. citizens for a jury.
Well, it's a mess.
It's a mess.
One thing is this, right? This is the thing that I like when I was looking at all these things and then learning about the incorporation doctrine. I realized that U.S. citizens cannot declare rights. They have no Ninth Amendment.
That's correct.
But that also means that the states do not have 10th Amendment rights. It does not apply to them.
Because they're U.S. citizens.
They're U.S. citizens.
That's correct.
So their police power is actually null and void.
That's correct.
But,
it's not null and void for U.S. citizens. So that's why it's all U.S. citizens. It's all only applies to U.S. citizens.
Yeah, and to be honest, when you make that argument in court, the judges freak out about it. The judges freak out. I used the Reconstruction Acts in a court case, and they freaking flipped out about that. Because the Reconstruction Acts prove that we're under military occupation. Right, because it's never been repealed. It's still in the books. It's still valid. The Lieber Code is still in effect. And if you read the Lieber Code, right, which is the martial law rules, you'll find out that this is the operating basis of the modern police force. Right, so they're an extension of the Army, Navy, whatever. They're all federalized. People don't know this. This is why you don't vote for them. Right, law enforcement was supposed to be voted in. Only the sheriff is. That's the last remnant of like the law enforcement portion of the republic.
Yeah.
Right? All that other stuff, it's all U.S. citizen federalization takeover. And I put that into court, man. That's when they sealed the records for the case.
Yeah, I have that on my Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals case with MX. I have all that stuff in there. It hasn't been ruled on yet, so we're just waiting for a ruling on that. I've been waiting since August of last year. And then I I have a writ of certiorari that I've sent to the Supreme Court twice, and both times it's gotten lost. So that's interesting. So I'm getting in touch with some legal courier services. I have some Pickletarians on the ground who are also willing to help. So I'm still kind of working to try to get that accepted. I'm going to try to get a legal courier service to actually physically take it over there and physically take it to the clerk, physically hand it to him, and then physically pay for it in person. And then if that fails, and if I can't get a Pickletarian to do it either, and that fails too, then I'm going to actually fly to Washington, D.C. to get the writ of certiorari filed on this case. Yeah. Because if they dismiss the Amex case in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, then I'm going to be doing another writ of certiorari. So I'll be back. I might as well get the lines worked out. If I can use a courier service, then if the Amex case goes to the Supreme Court, then I'll already have it all kind of worked out, and it'll be much easier. International
travel, nice.
Or if I have to go to the Washington D.C. every time, then I guess I will just make a. They have a whole museum at the Supreme Court. They have other museums and stuff there. So I'll just make a vacation museum thing out of it, I guess.
You know what you could do? You could stop off at the Treasury and try to pay off the rest of the debt with like a
beer bottle.
I'll
be drinking the beer bottle, and I'm like, hey,
guys,
Treasury.
While I'm here,
who do I make this out to? Pay to the order of U.S. Treasury. Here you go.
What's the debt now? $14 quadrillion.
I'll put it on this cigarette right here. Let me just write it on the cigarette.
Oh man, that'd be great,
good, dude. Yeah, so we'll see. Definitely go knock on the Treasury, see what's up. You know what I mean? Get some notes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Go in with your Federal Reserve notes and say, I'd like to cash this in.
For Treasury notes. Yeah, I heard you guys got Treasury notes. I'm looking to swap these Federal Reserve notes for them Treasury notes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, yeah.
United States notes.
You used to be able to take the silver certificates and bring them in and get silver for it. But now,
that'd be cool. I have silver certificates.
So do I.
I'll just take these bad boys in there. But like, hey, I got one of these.
Oh, yeah.
It says payable to the bearer on demand. I'd like to get my silver, please.
Well, technically, they're supposed to give that to you even now. They're supposed to honor that, but good luck.
And then I'll just sue the Treasury. Sue the Treasury for not giving me my silver.
But you know what we do with those when we bond court cases with the silver certificates is we use the serial number on there.
On the silver certificate?
Yep.
Hell yeah, brother! I got some certificates right here. I got some bond numbers. I've got several of these things, bro.
There we go.
I've got three of them. Oh wait, this one is. What in the hell? This is a Federal Reserve note. What is this doing in here? Who in God's name put a Federal Reserve note in with my silver certificates?
That's
disgusting. Let's see what this one is. Silver certificate. Thank Christ. I got nervous. There's 3 of them in here. And
they're fluffing it up, making it look more valuable than it was.
I can't believe it. Some fan sent me this just as like a fan gift.
That's nice.
So I got 2 silver certificates, and then I got the garbage out of there. I just got the garbage out of there, and I'm just sealing it back up. And now we have just the silver certificates. I'm ready to get my silver from the Treasury when I head down there to go to the Supreme Court. White Californian has arrived. It says right on the writ of certiorari at the bottom, it says White Californian Brandon Joe Williams, owner and federally registered trademark holder for sole proprietorship and U.S. citizen, all caps, Brandon Joe Williams registered trademark. Fucking perfect.
Fucking
perfect.
Let's not put this one on.
But the way that I always do it now, I just use the word owner because on the cover on the W-9 form it says owner is the word that's used to describe the person in control of or whatever of the sole prop.
Yeah.
So the reason why I use owner, let's say, like, because you use like authorized representative, that's the same thing that other people use. I think Yusuf L uses that. I wouldn't use that personally because I don't know where that would come from. Like, where would I show that? But owner is really, really easy. Just whip out a W-9, which is like everyone's familiar with the W-9, and then right at the top, owner, and then it's like the easiest thing in the world to prove. So I like to.
On the DBA, it says owner. Because I always, by the way,
okay.
so when I send that, every time I sent one of those motions or writs out, I always sent along with it the DBA, so they know I'm also the owner. But I'm in those other paperwork. I'm also declaring that I'm a grantor. I'm an authorized representative for that entity.
I don't think you are the grantor.
No, I'm doing something a little different, which I did not share, but I could show you afterwards. Privately, why I'm
private information,
which is actually in my school. I do show that on school because there's some things that I found were
sales pitch. Look at this.
I
won't tell anybody else but you afterward. But
I've told a bunch of people. There's a lot of people who know what I'm doing, but they all. And here's the thing: when we do this, people go. This is what happens. They go into court. This is almost exactly the same for every single person that they do this. When they do this thing that I'm doing with the assumed name, right? They go into court, they present this to the prosecutor, to the judge, and every single time the judge asks the prosecutor if they would like to dismiss it, right? And every single time the prosecutor goes, yes, we'd like to dismiss this. And then he goes, okay, dismissed. Every single time, it always goes that way. I don't know why. I can't explain why, but that's what happens. The judge asked the prosecutor if he would like to dismiss it.
Yeah, I mean, after having done this for so long, one of the things I've kind of realized, because I've seen so much stuff from so many people, is I truly believe that almost none of these people have any clue about anything, and if they just kind of feel like maybe you're on to something that's real, they just run away from it and try to shut it down. There's not even like a deep knowledgeable thing. It's just like, this is weird, but it seems like it could be something real. Let's stop this train before it starts rolling. Because I've seen 18 million different ways of doing 18 million different things, and many of them are effective when they're not. Really shouldn't be. I've seen so many things that are effective that really shouldn't be effective. They're not effective at all. They're horrible. They're awful. These people should be. I mean, maybe not, but it's terrible things, horrible things that are filed into these cases that make no sense.
I had a lawyer tell me, one of my students is a lawyer, and he goes, sometimes they just don't want to deal with it, so they just
That's what I mean. It's not sometimes, it's often. I think that's really, and often is defined as almost always. I'm surprised they held, like, with all the things I've seen and all the things I get sent and all the things that I look at, I'm surprised how hard and how long they held onto your stuff, because that's so rare that I see that. And when I say so rare, I mean thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of things I've seen, and typically they can't get away from this shit fast enough. Even crap, even junk, they can't get away from it fast enough. So, for whatever reason, it's just interesting. I don't know if it has something to do with you having an online platform that's a little bit more public, because I know that's obviously been a big issue for me. It changes the dynamic of everything, right? So, like, with everything that I do, it's going to be really tough for me to use other people's stuff or other people's examples with my stuff, because the extremely large public and I'm obviously fully aware that I do that, because I do that constantly. It's always the number one concern on my mind is, how do I make this as huge and as public as possible at all times, right? I like that. But there's positives and there's negatives to that. The negatives is that I am in completely uncharted territory. There is not a soul that I can call on the planet that I can ask them questions to try to figure out what's going on with my shit. I have to figure out all this entirely myself, because there is nobody else with a huge public platform doing these kinds of things, right? That's the con. The pro is there's so many pros. I mean, everything becomes marketing. That's a pro. If I take a shit, it's marketing, practically. You know what I mean? If I file something, it's let's do a video on it. Let's do this. Let's talk about it. If I receive a letter, let's talk about it. If I do a meet and confer call, record it and post it online, what are they going to do? Sue me? You know what I mean? So it's I like it because there are so many advantages to doing it that way, but there is one disadvantage, and the disadvantage is just the fact that I've gotten to the point now where I just enjoy it because if you don't enjoy it, it'll kill you. So you have to learn. I think the secret to all of this, it took me about a year and a half to really understand this. You have to enjoy it or it will kill you. It will kill you if you don't enjoy it. So. Oh
yeah, gotta have fun when you do this because otherwise it'll just beat you down. So you always look at how could you have fun with this? How could you make it more fun? One thing I did notice why they don't like what we're doing is because they're trying to everything that they do in the court they want to keep private, and we're putting it all out there for everyone to see.
Well, it is yes and no because anyone can. It's kind of one of those things where anyone can get in there and download anything at any point in time, but at the same time, no one does. So it's sort of like it's one of those kind of weird situations where it is all public. That's why I do what I do because it's like, what are you going to do? Complain? What the fuck? This is all public. You know what I mean?
Well, the municipal courts here in this state, you only see complaints. You don't see you can't look up the court cases. You can't see any of that stuff. It's like,
oh wow,
yeah. They just
that's the benefit of you taking everything and scanning it and putting it. That's why, like for example, I'd love to see from your platform, whether it's in your school or whether it's more of like a public access, recap links for federal cases and then just Dropbox folders with all the docket items. If you get something in the mail at paper form, I have a scanner back here. It's kind of an expensive scanner. It's like a $400 scanner. And you could put like 150, 200 pages in it and it'll double scan both sides like this fast. Not quite that fast, but like and it'll do both sides of the paper, and you can stick 200 pieces in there, and you can do 200 pieces double-sided, and then you can output it as a ping file, an image file, with each page being an image file. You can do a PDF, and it just takes literally like click, and you're done. So it's very nice.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
So I use that for my new state case because getting into the docket is so expensive and so difficult. I don't really even know how to do it. So because I'm pro se, they have to send me everything in the mail hard copy. So when I get hard copy, I just scan it and then I just name it and then I just put it in the Dropbox folder. And it's sort of like having a free, super easy. It's like having Recap essentially, because Recap's the greatest thing in the world. Like if Recap was available for state cases, I mean, we would have it made. But we don't. So sadly, we can't use Recap, right? But
yeah,
I would love to see something like that from you because it's so important that more of us make these things more publicly acceptable because otherwise, you're learning these things. I'm learning these things independently, and there's no like collective knowledge of what's going on.
Right. So in the school group, there was one of the meetings, because we have weekly meetings, and we just talk about whatever people having. So we do, first thing is I find out if anyone's struggling with their courses, find out what's going on, wins, successes that they're having with their courses. But that's the first thing we do in the meeting is find out if anyone's stuck on anything in their course, try to unravel that, fix that up, get them moving along on their course again. Questions, stuff like that, if they have questions on their courses, and then successes, what people learned, and then we go into like random topics, what people are running into in life that they want handlings on, if they want new courses, we'll have discussions on that. But there was one night where I had helped someone with a case. They got sued for like about $20,000, and we did this entire litigation process and won the case. So I showed everybody exactly what happened throughout the case from beginning to end. this. And I walked through the entire process with all the paperwork, right? Because this was in a different state. So I was able to pull up all the paperwork, all their paperwork, all our paperwork, and then the paperwork that the court wouldn't show. Like there was one or two things that were filed into the case that was never put on the docket. So I was able to show that in the meeting. So we went through the whole thing, showing all the paperwork that was done, how they started it, what her responses were, and then just back and forth through to the end when they decided to dismiss the case. So the case got dropped, and that was it. 20 grand discharged.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's in one of the first meetings. And what's really cool is that there's somebody in the school group. And what she does is she goes through every weekly meeting, right? And she tabs out or she does like a timestamp for every discussion that happens in that meeting. Very meticulous. I was very impressed by that. I said, wow, this is awesome. So it's easy to find.
There you go. So why don't we go back to like what has been going on with you, and we'll get back to your school at the end. We'll end off with that, but let's get back into so in 24 you had this whole kind of craziness that happened between 24 and the middle of 24 to the middle of 25. That was pretty wild. I know you were under a lot of stress. Your family was under a lot of stress. You were very, very stressed about that whole situation. So what else has been going on since the last time we did a show, which was November of 23? What else has been going on?
Well, let's see. I had I was doing classes, the trust community, and I put together like a formula for a trust. And it's a very interesting thing that I did with the trust. Okay, so I created this type of trust where it's protected. Okay, I was taking the silver bond because I was actually winning a lot of civil cases with the silver bond by bonding it with silver, and a lot of cases were just getting dropped, boom, boom. And I'm like, let me go do more research on the bonds. So I started reading American jurisprudence on bonds. And I was reading these other books on bonds and financial books on bonds. And I was just learning all this stuff about bonds. And one day I just had this big realization about it. And I said, So I set up a trust. And what I did was I settled it with silver, right? So now the whole thing is silver based rather than Federal Reserve note based. It's everything is based off of how much silver and weight and stuff like that. But what I did was I put a bond on record for that trust, and the bond is set up in a way where it delivers accord and satisfaction, okay, and the refusal of that bond as payment creates discharge in full, and it's all mocked up by the fact that they're operating off of debt-based instruments, debt notes, promissory notes, and the silver is an actual constitutional money to promise, right, or offer or actual payment. And the way it's set up is that when you have this type of trust and you put this in, what occurs is this. If anyone makes a claim against that trust, the first and only thing they get is that bond or the silver that's backing the bond. If they refuse that, they have nothing. If they said, we can't take that, so I can't help you.
Oh, I see. If they refuse the bond, I see.
Tender performance. But because it's silver rather than debt notes, right, the silver encompasses any amount of debt that they're offering because silver is always more valuable than all the paper in the world.
I see, yeah.
And that's explained in the bond, and it says, this is set for accord and satisfaction for all purposes of any liability that this trust comes under for the protection of the grantor, the trustees, and the beneficiaries. So if anyone makes a claim against any of those entities, right, any of those inside of the trust, that bond is there to protect everyone. And if they don't want to take it, then the debt is done. Tender a payment.
Yeah, that'd be 3-603B. If the tender is refused, discharge occurs to the amount of the tender. Well, it'd be kind of confusing because then they could say, well, let's say it's 3 silver coins, or then they could say like the Federal Reserve note conversion value of those 3 silver coins is blank, and then they could say that 3-603B only applies to that amount. But again, the real issue is that just everyone just freaks out or doesn't understand. No one understands any of this well enough to even bring up any sort of meaningful conversation on the subject. Everyone just dies or explodes or goes into emotional turmoil. So, I mean, that works in your favor because what are they going to do? I mean, I don't know about you, Joe, but it's taken me years and years and years of chewing and thinking about this information practically all day, every single day, to start to have a really good grasp of how it works and what it means.
Right. So, I mean, UCC 3-311, according to satisfaction.
By use of instrument, yeah.
Right. So we use the instrument as payment in full for all claims.
The bond itself is the instrument, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, they take the bond. They can do whatever they want with it. The bond, actually, by the way I set up the bond, it's actually recognized as a valid bond. Right?
Did you actually register it with the SEC or something?
No, it's not registered with SEC, but it is registered. It's a registered bond, and it's an actual bond because when I help people, when they want to do the insurance bond that I came up with, they're like, oh, I want to do the insurance bond. How do I do it? When I show them how to properly do the bond, the state DMVs always accept it.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a couple of things I figured out about how bonds work, and I was looking at these things, and I was looking at just observing, just observing these things and what they actually are and stuff like that. And that's how I started to find out what the hell's going on with these things and how they're actually created. I said, okay, I see how this works. So I started doing the bonds this way, and the insurance bonds always get accepted by the DMV. The silver bonds get accepted as well, and it creates all kinds of problems with the court system. I've done this with the trust. The odds of the trust even getting anything in the first place, like getting, some kind of lawsuit or something or attack against it, is very slim to none in the first place. Oh, yeah. But the fact is that nothing. I put that in. I went and, the thing's registered. Let me see. Let's see if I have it here. It should be.
How do you build your trusts? Do you build them under the de jure or republic version of your state, or do you do it some other way?
It's under the republic.
Oh, okay. I do mine under the Amnesty Coalition. So it's born in the Amnesty Coalition, and then part of the indenture is that any power of attorney or anything else associated with the exercising of the trust is in the. So it's 4 USC 72, and all I did was just reword it. That's all I did, right? And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to make it. I'll do a screen share. I wanted to I like to use the same shit they do, because then they can't say no to it. What are you gonna do?
Yes, I love doing that.
What are you gonna do, bitch? You gonna complain? You know what I mean? So 4 USC 72. You can see my screen here.
Yeah.
So all offices attached to the seat of government shall be exercised in the District of Columbia and not elsewhere, except as otherwise expressly provided by law. I just take this exact same thing, and it's just, all transactions, all powers of attorney attached to, this trust shall be exercised in the nation of the Amnesty Coalition and not elsewhere except as otherwise expressly provided by law. That's how I do it. That's how I do it.
I've done that a bunch of times. I love doing that stuff. So these are like some of the bonds that we do, right? And I'm not gonna go through it here, but this is how the bonds are set up. As you can see, this is a very big trust. I do a lot. I write a lot, right?
That's not a ton of paper. That's a lot of that's plastic coverings.
It is plastic coverings, but this is a very big trust.
Oh, okay,
right?
Yeah.
It is for a trust. This is a lot. Right, but yeah, this is the bond. That's how the bonds work, and the states recognize the bonds. People go put in their bonds into stuff, and they go, "We don't recognize that." I don't get that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually get a problem with everything I do, but that's one of the things that once I debugged it and figured out what it is, they stopped doing that with me.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So I figured it out. So.
Aren't you writing a treatise or a book or something on this stuff?
Yes. Yeah, I'm writing a book. It's basically about the fall of the monetary system, right? So the working title right now is the death of lawful money: how America moved from gold and silver to fiat currency.
I'm pretty excited about that because I've done a tremendous amount of study and history on that myself, and it is a very interesting conversation into like the legal tender cases, and then we went back onto the gold and silver standard after the legal tender cases, and then that was actually considered the highest pinnacle point of gold and silver between, I think it was 1874 or something like that until 1914 with the Great War. During that time period, like the most amount of countries on the planet were under gold and silver, and it was like the least amount of insanity, the least amount of crime, the highest economic prosperity. It's considered like the golden era of gold and silver coins since the inception of our country. And then in 1914 we came off again using the same information in the legal tender cases. And then people don't realize the legal tender cases, the original cases, is all still the entire legal structure of Federal Reserve notes and negotiable instruments. It's never really even been talked about. It was talked about one time during the Civil War on how do we fund this. We can't fund this, but we have to fund it to survive. They were talking about in the legal tender cases how Article 1, Section 10 applies to the states, but it doesn't apply to the Congress, just like everything else. So they said that Congress has the ability to create obligations under Congress. That's how they created the idea of legal tender. And that's why if you look up the definition of legal tender in 31 U.S.C. 5103, it says foreign gold and silver coins are not legal tender for payment of debts. And they say the word foreign. I find that kind of interesting, right? So California is technically foreign from United States, right? So everything is based that it's a non-constitutional zone under Congress that does not have to follow Article 1, Section 10. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, so then what is state of California?
Right, yeah.
It's like, that gives it away too, right there. That gives it away. It's like, all right, well, obviously this isn't what people think it is. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you one thing. So everyone talks about 1933 as a pinnacle year for the fiat currency shift, right? And it is. Without a doubt it is. But nobody talks about what happened the next year. Right in the beginning of 1934, after they confiscated all the gold from everybody, what they did was they did the Gold Reserve Act. And the Gold Reserve Act transferred all the gold to the U.S. Treasury, right? It revalued gold from like $20 and change to about $35 an ounce, devaluing the dollar, right? So basically what they did was they devalued the dollar that they gave out to everybody for the gold, and then they created a legalized monopoly on the government owning gold, right? That was it. That's destroyed everything. Ever since then, it's been so hard to get, up until the 70s, it was really hard to get your hands on the gold, right? So, and then of course,
and then in 71 is when Nixon brought us off because the whole point of 1933 was it was an emergency banking act. So it was an emergency act that was supposed to be temporary. We were only supposed to have it. It was supposed to operate just like the legal tender cases. The legal tender cases was a temporary solution to fund the war, because if we don't fund the war, we're fucked. The whole country's going to collapse. It was and then once the emergency of the war was completed, we came off of the legal tender cases and we went back on the gold standard and the silver standard, right? But in 1933, it was an emergency situation. We were supposed to come off of it at some point in time, but I think the main issue and the reason why we never came off of it is because who was there at that point in time to make sure we never went back on the gold standard?
Right.
The Federal Reserve.
Right. Yeah. And then
they had been around at 20 years, because 1913 to 1933, they had already been around 20 years. So by the time it happened, I'm sure if you dig into it more and more and more, you're going to find that they did not want us to end the emergency banking aspect. And since they control the banks, they probably just propelled the idea that, oh no, we're still in an emergency, we can't do this. But the reason why Nixon took us off is because the French called in their loans and they found some loophole where they could call it in with gold or something like that. And when they called it in, Nixon, it was going to bankrupt the whole country. And that's why Nixon, what he did is he didn't take us off the gold standard. We were already temporarily off the gold standard. He removed the fact that it was temporary and made the Temporary Emergency Act permanent. That's what people don't understand.
And then he also suspended the convertibility of dollar to gold for foreign holders. No one knew that, but we were still trading.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we were still
That was
trading.
the whole purpose of it. That's why he did it, because the French was going to bankrupt us. The French was literally about to completely bankrupt the entire country.
Right. So that's why he did that. And then now even the foreign holders couldn't get the gold anymore.
Yep.
That was it. Done. Then the full fiat currency era starts.
And that's why,
where we're at today.
Why a lot of these conversations, like for example, Nixon or Samuel Freeman Miller or Roger B. Taney or all the people I like to talk about, it's such a fascinating conversation because you always realize everybody assumes that it's all evil, and especially now with the Epstein files and everything, it's like, oh, everyone's evil, everyone's sacrificing children, everyone's eating babies, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm not saying Nixon wasn't. But the thing is, if Nixon didn't do what he did, the entire country would have gone bankrupt, and it would have been probably worse. I don't know. It would have been. He was trying to avert a massive capsizing of the entire country. So, like, when you look at it that way, it's like, okay, the Emergency Banking Act, they were trying to avert a massive banking collapse, a run on the banks. In the legal tender cases, they were trying to fund the war because if they didn't fund the war, both sides would collapse or whatever. I don't know what exactly the mentality was behind the legal tender cases, but I've read most of them, but you can read them for yourself.
I think I did a video on the legal tender cases.
But the road to hell is paved with good intentions, truly. Yeah. It truly is. Mm-hmm. It truly is, because you find it. Like Samuel Freeman Miller is probably one of the most well-intentioned human beings that ever walked the earth, ever. He is like, to me, the closest thing we've seen to Jesus in like hundreds of years. I know that's a bit much to say, but he worked for 20 years, trained himself in law because he wanted to free the Negro, and he just wasn't. There was nothing that was going to stop him from doing that. Period. End of story. The whole fucking world
he had a good
could have tried to stop him, and he was just not gonna. Like, that's it. He just saw something he thought was unacceptable, and that was the end of the story. And to me, there's nothing more American than that. There's nothing more American than seeing something you don't like, and that's fucking it. Even if it takes 25 years, that's it. We're done. We're done because I fucking said we're done. That's a fucking American, right?
Yeah.
So the road to hell truly is paved beautifully with good intentions. It's like the most flawless road straight to hell. It's like no potholes, no stop signs, but straight to the crevice. You know what I mean?
We have good intentions here. Jump in there.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh yeah. So I'm working on that book. I do have a Substack too, where I write like these little articles. I've been working on the fiction of law. I think I've written so much on it that I'm just going to turn that into a book as well. So I'm going to have that book out. Yeah. But this other one...
That's a very fascinating subject that no one's really talking about. Not in that way, anyways.
No. But what I'm doing, this book, The Death of Lawful Money, I've been writing out the details of this thing in full from beginning to end. I'm starting with the Constitution to the Coinage Act, and then so on, right? And it's going through everything. It goes through the legal tender cases. It's going to go through the cases during and right after the Civil War where they upheld paper money, and then right after the Civil War they said, no, there's no good. But they only upheld it during the Civil War because of the fact that there was a Civil War going on. They said, no, we can do paper money. But as soon as the war ended, the same judges, the same justices were like, no, you got to pay in gold and silver.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting to see that. Like, oh, okay, they were reasonable, they were logical.
Well, they knew at that time, that there was these two different citizenship classes now, because the second one had just been made. But they knew that the secondary citizenship class, the U.S. citizen or citizen of the United States or national citizen class, was secondary, and it was sort of like an auxiliary class. They knew that at that time, and that's why the confusion didn't really fully lock in until your 1913 to 1933 time period. Right. Because by that point, everyone was confused, and the propaganda was that the 14th Amendment was the only type of citizenship available, and that state citizenship was secondary or auxiliary to national citizenship. And they had flipped the whole thing literally just through complete ignorance.
Well, they did a great job.
They did a great job.
I mean, when I talk to people today, they're like, dude, you're out of your mind. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, like some guy started arguing with me on Facebook like last week, and he goes, you guys do the stupidest stuff. And I'm like what? What do you mean, like, stupid stuff? What stupid stuff am I doing exactly? Filing motions, writs? That's stupid? And he's like, well, those aren't, but what you guys do is stupid. I'm like, well, I just told you what I do. You're saying what I'm doing is stupid, but you don't know what I'm doing. And then he just goes on about this, and I'm like, I never mentioned any of these weird things you're talking about. If I have a court case, I put in motions, I put in writs, I do judicial notices, I do memorandums of law, right? I'll do an abatement if you know, I'm looking for what's the proper remedy for the situation at hand. That's what I'm doing. If you find that odd, go talk to a lawyer and ask them if they find that odd, because that's what the lawyers are doing. I'm just copying what they do. Right? They just getting pissed off because they're like, well, we can't just have regular people just picking up law books, reading them, and figuring the shit out. They don't like that. They're like, no, we're special. Only we know this. Right? I had a lawyer on TikTok yelling at me because I wasn't trained. I said, your training is actually an indoctrination to make you think a certain way. Did you ever think about that? He goes, no.
Well, they're losing their shit now because AI has gotten so good in the last 2.5 years since you and I have done a show. I mean, you can go on AI and ask it, you know, where, you know, I do things like where's all the rules for discovery in the California civil procedure, and it'll give me a link. I go in, I read it.
Oh, wow.
I do stuff like that all the time now. I don't use AI like how a lot of people do, where, you know, I say, is there a case that says this? Or I'll say, I found this case, but I'm looking for other cases like it, maybe earlier or like this. Or I'll say, okay, where is this in the California civil procedure? Or I'll say, I want to write a response in opposition, but I want to know what are the rules of writing a response in opposition to a motion to dismiss. Where in the California civil procedure can I find information on that subject? And it'll give me all sorts of things, and I'll just go and read that. And I think that's actually the most powerful way to use AI. But what people do is they upload a motion to dismiss, and they say, write a response for me on this. And then whatever it kicks out, they just submit it. And a lot of people are getting in trouble and getting sanctioned and stuff because there's doesn't even exist, and nobody has a clue what's going on. That's the mess.
Someone just reported to me like a couple of weeks ago. They said, oh, I was working on this case, and I used AI, and then the lawyers had a field day on me because the cases that it spit out didn't exist. And I was like, I'm using AI to make pictures. That's what I'm using it for, right? Like someone was like, oh, because I'm like looking for an artist, right, for some of my artwork, right? And someone's like, why don't you just use AI? And I'm like, AI does that? They're like, yeah, it makes pictures, dude. It makes everything. I'm like, oh, so I went and did it, and actually over time the pictures even got better. I was like, oh shit, like the pictures are even getting better. You could see it in my school group. You would see like the original pictures for the courses on there. I have like a little picture for each one, but you can see they actually get nicer over time. I'm like, oh.
Well, the last year and a half, we've seen a really big improvement on AI, and I just wish people would use it to find things, because I think there's people who don't use it at all, which I think is a bit of a miss, because it can find so much for you so fast that I don't even know how you'd find these things. That's to me, it's the big breakthrough on all this is you can find all the case law, you can find all the procedural aspects in seconds. I never have AI do the thinking for me. I never have it write for me. I never have it, really, I don't even ask it for feedback on the things that I write. All I ask it for is, where is this? Where is that? Can you find me something on this?
Right.
And then if it says a bunch of shit, a lot of times what I'll do too is I'll say, I need information on this, or can you find me this? Please list each individual source that you are getting each piece of information that you give me. So then it'll give me a piece of information source, and then I can go through and I can find out which one is the one that I would like, right? But if you just ask it to tell you stuff, you don't know what you're getting, you don't know what's happening. But if you ask it to find you things, and then to link everything that it finds with links that you can click and go right to the source material, it's a very powerful tool in that respect.
That's cool.
It eliminates the need of an attorney entirely, because the only thing the attorneys know, and poorly, mind you, is procedure.
Well,
it's a procedural replacement, and that's really where my whole platform is going in 2026. It's all procedure. Everything is procedure now. We're trying to figure out the procedure. We want to master procedure. I think for AI, this is the first time where AI is going to be very, very important and crucial for what we're doing in 2026 because of the procedural aspects. It's basically like having an attorney, because the only fucking thing these people know is procedure. It's like having an attorney, basically.
Right. Well, one thing is this. Like, people want solutions, but they have to understand something. And this is really important. This is what I see this is happening to people with AI, is that they're letting AI do everything for them, and then they still can't think with the information. Imagine, and I tell people, I go, look, if you're sitting in a jail cell, right? You're sitting in jail, right? You can't, you made your one phone call. They said, fuck you, I can't help you, or you're shit out of luck. Your bond to be released is like $100,000. I don't have it. Sorry, man, can't help you. You're sitting in jail. You don't have AI. You can't go and have it write a habeas corpus for you. But if you have the knowledge, you can sit there and write a habeas corpus to try to get yourself out. You can plead your case right there with a pencil and a piece of paper and go see a magistrate right away, because you have the information. That's real power. That's real sovereignty. That's real freedom.
On the other end, because I know like your platform is a little more on the defensive end, mine is entirely on the offensive end. I don't even like talking about defense. It's just not even something I even want to talk about.
Well, it's because most of my life experience has been, I've been attacked by all these people. I've been getting hit up by these people. They've been coming after me for this, for that. And I think a lot of people relate to that. And that's probably the people who are watching my stuff, is the people who've been
correct.
in the shitter.
And no one really relates to my material, because no one has come along, some psycho ass fuck. There's never been some psycho-ass fuck who comes along and says, I want to sue everybody, I want to get into fights, and I want to be the plaintiff and everything. And no one bothers me. No one ever has bothered me. And I'm about ready to bother every motherfucker on earth. That's what's going to happen. No one's ever done that before. I'm the first guy. So it's terrifying and weird, but it also has this kind of like fascinating aspect to it. Like, this guy's fucking nuts, right? So it has, I've sort of spun it, one stupid fuck and the crazy. I'm like, I'll just lean into the whole thing. Fuck it. They think I'm crazy. I am crazy, I guess, because there's never been anybody who wants to do this, right? But I know if I pitch it in a certain way and I learn it in a certain way and it's fun and it's exciting and it has a group dynamic to it, I know people will want to do this, because there are a lot of people out there, especially ex-military. These guys, they like to fight. They like the heat of battle. But what are you going to do? You're going to be a boxer? You're going to get into UFC? What are you going to do? And I knew there was this whole strata of people, men, that would be very interested in something like this, very confrontational, legal confrontation, legal combat minus the pain, the physical pain, I always knew that was kind of going to be kind of where my platform was going to go in the back of my head. But on the plaintiff side of things, it's just been a very, very interesting journey, because like you were saying, on the defensive end, you're in prison, you're all this stuff. But on the offensive end, I've seen it time and time and time again, or when you counterclaim in a civil case, so if you get sued and then you counterclaim, what the attorneys are doing now, which is so smart, they should have been doing this from the beginning. They're so stupid that they weren't doing this before. Why it took them time to like catch on, it's probably just because they're so fucking lazy. They don't even want to go into the courts themselves. But they started to, if they get any indication that you're using AI, you don't know what you're doing, they call a hearing and they put a motion in for a hearing, and they put a motion in to deny, like Zoom. So they force you to come into and then they just fucking slaughter you. It's like a public slaughter. Now, I got to tell you, if I was an attorney, that's all I would do all day long. If I got any hiccups, any little counterclaims, anything, oh, fantastic. Let's see what this guy really knows. Hearing, no Zoom, I'll see you there, motherfucker. And I would just absolutely, I mean, the walls would be covered in blood. But the thing is that when you really understand what's going on, then the whole point of what we're trying to do, the whole point of the technology we're trying to create is we are bringing the bar cards to slaughter. That's what I'm trying to essentially figure out in a nutshell, how to flip that entirely and bring the sheep in for the slaughter. That's basically what we're trying to figure out.
Well, like I said, I did bring those charges to that tow company, and they gave me my car back. That was me blaming the plaintiff in that matter. It never, the court case never went anywhere because they gave me the car back. So, yeah,
you guys basically settled. You settled before the case had even been fucking approved because it has to go through that petitional process when you're filing in Pauperous. So that's hilarious. I think it's hilarious that he's getting advertisements from lawyers and the thing hasn't even been signed yet. It's like, well, I guess there would be a docket because the in forma pauperis petition is on some sort of a docket. I just don't even know how they would even find it.
I'm not sure. I just know he calls and goes, "What are you playing here, man?" You know, I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You're suing me?" I'm like, "Who told you?" He goes, "The lawyer called me." He got a phone call and he got mail from lawyers. I was like,
it's fucking hilarious.
I was like, okay, so lawyers are soliciting you for this case. Okay. I was like,
that's too good.
I was like, look, you could either pay my fees, right, or you can go to court. So he gave me the car back because it was going to cost him more to hold on to the car and do the court case than to just give me the car back.
Oh yeah.
It was a business move. It was let me make the right move because even if I lost the case, he would have had to pay thousands of dollars to a lawyer, right?
Now I want to say, like, for like my audience, what I would like to see is like these calls are recorded, you know, like you take the recordings and you post them online later and you can really humiliate these people and then you make them pay something, $5,000, $10,000 on top of giving your car back, on top of, you know, I think it needs a wash, it needs a polish, in fact it needs a paint job. Let's go ahead and get that done too, and then you can drop it off. I'll give you 3 days. I want to see this kind of, not to be mean to you, because I know like you were trying to learn and like you and I are kind of like the spearheads on this. So if you see like an opportunity, you take it. There's a lot of things I've done that if I can go back, I would change it. But like, I would like to see more of not a revenge-based mentality, a justice-based mentality. And when I say justice-based mentality, you have the lady, Justicia, and she holds the 2 weigh scales. And you have to really honestly put your emotions aside. You have to say, okay, this guy came to this location. He listened to these officers that weren't deputized or anything. I don't know what's going on with that. They took the property, which according to all these different aspects of the state constitution and everything else, all these different things were violated. I wasn't paid, blah, 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 for my property. He just took it. And then now he says that it's some kind of a service or something. You know, I don't know. That sounds like involuntary servitude. That sounds like slavery. That sounds like all sorts of things, right? And it's just a balancing of those scales. But the scales, I think what people don't understand is the scales have been so dramatically and violently misbalanced that I think it requires quite a lot for some of these people to balance the scale. For example, tons of work on the car needs to get done, paint needs to get done, plus I want $10,000, plus you got to drop it off, plus I want an apology letter. And I've recorded all these calls. They're all going to get published on my website and in different groups and stuff. And I feel like, to me, that would be a more realistic idea as to the balancing of scales, which is literally the entire purpose of justice. I'm not asking for revenge. I'm asking for justice. You see? That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, no, that's the way it needs to be. Yeah. That's the court. If you do that with the courts, they like that. If you say I'm here for revenge, they don't like you for that.
Yeah, and that's something I had to kind of learn too.
Before.
I had to kind of get off that train too. I know a lot of people are kind of that's where a lot of people start. They start there, right? And the reason why people get so vengeful is because they go from thinking that they have absolutely no control of the situation at all whatsoever to realizing that they actually do have a lot of control, and they get this like surge of power, and they want to use that power to just like fucking utterly obliterate that of which they believe is evil, and they're not even really wrong. So the thing is it's just this initial power burst that people get, and they're like, I'm going to use this power to destroy and vanquish evil, because from their perspective, what they've experienced is evil, right?
Right.
So it makes sense. It's just not effective. That's the issue.
Right. And I've had people send me stuff and go, what do you think of this? And I read it and I go, everything you're saying is right, but the way it's framed is not going to fly in a courtroom, because the judge is going to say this things, or the prosecutor is going to do this, or the whoever you're going after in court is going to do these things. And people would have such freaking, they'd be in uproar, like all upset with me and angry. How could you, man? I thought you were on my side. Like, I am. I'm just telling you what the courts will and will not recognize from experience. It's not saying that you're wrong. It's saying that they operate off of this fiction of law doctrine, right? There's certain presumptions that they cannot allow to go rebutted or be proven to be untrue, right? Not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that you have to frame it in a way that you keep their fiction of law doctrine wrapped up, but you put them at a point where they go, all right, we're going to give you this one, right? So that it's like a barrier to them continue to use it without exposing it as a fiction. And that's one of the biggest things I think I ever came across in everything I studied. And this fiction of law doctrine is one of the most crucial and most important things. And it is very, very I think it's very underlooked by people. Like, they just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. And they don't realize that fiction of law, not only does it show you the trap, but it shows you the way out of the trap at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's very, very powerful. So, in fact, using that doctrine, I've gotten a number of people put on restricted lists, right? Using those concepts from the fiction of law.
Because the way that you couch it is that a fiction of law can harm no one, and then you prove that it's harming them, which essentially destroys the whole.
Right. That's exactly what we do.
The way that I think of it is the only way the fiction of law can hurt you is if you don't understand it, though. I look at it a little differently because my fiction of law, which is my sole prop, and technically my trusts and other things as well, they're all technically fictions of law. They can't possibly hurt me. It's impossible. It's a mindset. It's like, even if a police officer doesn't understand and they think that the computer says this name and it's me, like, to me, it's still, you just can't, you can't hurt me. You can't hurt me with that thing. It's impossible. Well, they can try. Right. But like it's just in my mind, like the way that I think and like the mentality, when you understand it deeply enough, it's just not possible. It can't be done. It doesn't exist in this plane of existence.
So yes, a trust is a fiction of law. There's a lot of it. But one of the things about this is that not all people, when I talk about this, people just assume all fiction of law is bad, and it's not. A trust is a fiction of law.
That's what I mean.
No, there's definitely a good one. Innocent until proven guilty. That's good fiction of law.
I think all fiction of law is a good thing because I understand it. I have no problem with any fiction. Even if you presume that I'm a U.S. citizen, that's fine with me.
Now, here's the thing. This is the thing. This is when you get harmed by it, is when you no longer consent to it, right? And they still force it on you. Now, this is because when you consent, no harm can be done to you under consent.
But you have to understand the consent. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Once you understand it, and this is
or overstand or understand. Sorry, Joe. I apologize, Blow.
How about Northern Stand?
Do you Southern sit, Joe? I Eastern lay on this one, Your Honor.
Eastern lay? I was going to say that.
Joe and I think this whole understand thing is hilarious. It's the stupidest fucking thing in the world.
I'm like,
anyways,
look,
but back to your thing.
If you want to understand.
If you want a Southern sit, listen to this.
If you want to overlay. But the thing is that it is a maximum of law that a fiction of law harms no one. So it's not supposed to be harmful, but that is color of law. Once you're in a position where you can show that the color of law has done damage to you or is creating some kind of damage towards you, right? They stop using it on you.
It's literally just a cause of action at that point. It's that simple.
It's kind of funny how simple this can actually become, because I was like, my whole thing was I just wanted them to just stop bothering me, stop pulling me over, stop giving me tickets, stop harassing me, stop trying to charge me felonies. I've been dealing with this my whole life.
So ridiculous,
right? It's so crazy, right? It's crazy the amount of times I've been arrested and the amount of times I've actually done something wrong. The amount of times I've been arrested outweighs the amount of times I've actually done something wrong. Okay,
so good.
Yeah, I'm not the perfect guy. I've done stupid stuff, but nothing that would merit going to jail.
You're the only white guy that's lived a black life. Let me just tell you that. You're the only white guy I know that, because I hear this from black guys all the time, but from white guys I just never hear this kind of stuff. It's just funny to me.
I was born without privilege. But,
you got vitiligo or something, It's like everybody thinks you're black. I was like, this is a black guy. Beat him. Pull him out of the car in 20 seconds. Take his car.
Well, one thing is, I did grow up in a black neighborhood.
Okay.
All right. So I did, and number two, my grandfather is a black guy, so I am part.
You should just start talking like super white and still. Hello, officer. How are you doing today? My name is Joseph. Nice to meet you. And you have your hands up at 10 and 2, and you've got the window all the way down. How can I help you, officer? My name is Joseph. Oh, sure, officer. You need license and registration? I'd be happy to help. Like a 1950s kind of thing. Like, oh, sure, officer. Let me get that for you. Would you mind if I reached in the glove compartment? I don't have any guns, knives, or missiles. I promise, sir. Like fucking white as fuck. Like, fucking milkman. You know what I mean?
Maybe I should do that, because one day I get pulled over. The cop's asking me. He goes, you get pulled over a lot? And I look at him and go, what's the purpose of this question? He's like, I just wonder if you get pulled over.
No, I'm white. Look. Obviously, you guys can't see my skin.
Not,
I don't know what's going on.
I don't match. You actually are very close to this color of my shirt.
I know. That's why I never have a fucking problem. People are like, oh, you don't have a problem. No, I don't have problems. I don't have any. If I wear a black shirt, it makes my skin even whiter. Why do you think I wear a black shirt all the time?
It doesn't work. Look at this.
You're wearing a white shirt. That's the problem. We figured it out. That's the issue. That's the problem. And you wear a hat, which creates shadows, which makes your white skin look darker, Joe. We've got it figured out. We've got it figured out. What are you going to do about it, Joe?
The band podcast.
See, like me, I just shaved the head. I look like a skinhead. You got the big white crow's peaks, whatever the fuck they're called. You got the white and the white. Look at these teeth. Fucking shockingly white teeth. Look at how fucking lack of color everything about me, officer. They're like, have a good day, sir. Like, fucking pleasure meeting you, buddy. You know what I mean?
So
shit's too good, dude.
Oh yeah, man. So yeah, they probably know, because I mean, I am my grandfather's black, so I don't know. Whatever.
They feel the bloodline. They literally feel the bloodline. They're like, he's got African blood. Get him out of the car. Get him in cuffs.
So, but yeah, that's that thing about that fiction of law doctrine is like here's another thing. They assume all paperwork is correct. They have a whole concept about that. That's part of fictional law. if they submit something in, they just assume it's correct because they don't have the time to freaking, check every single piece of paperwork.
Yeah.
Right? But these lawyers, when you're going against them in court, they will check your paperwork. They'll check it.
Especially in the world of AI, because everyone's using AI and stuff. And for about a year there was a tremendous amount of hallucination in terms of legal work. I haven't seen it much recently, so like when I see people getting sanctioned, especially like even bar cards for having hallucinated cases, I kind of laugh because I don't even really see any of that kind of stuff anymore. So it's like you got to be a whole different level of stupid and lazy to still get hallucinations and stuff. I don't even know how you do that.
I don't know. I try to stay away from it because I just don't trust it. I think it might screw up things. But the research thing sounds like a good idea.
I ask it to find things for me. Like for example, one of the first time I ever used AI and I had a big success, I asked Super Grok, because I pay for upgraded X membership, and it comes with an upgraded Grok version called Super Grok, which is like a very paid, AI thingy that Elon Musk has. And I said, fuck it. And I tried to use it a few times and I didn't really like AI. And I went in there and I said, what was the first case when legal fictions became persons under the 14th Amendment? And I thought, we'll see what happens. Hit enter. I was paying for this thing. I never used it. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to use it. I'm paying for it. And it popped up and said Santa Clara County versus Pacific Railroad Company, 1886. I said, what's the exact quote on that from the case? It gave me the exact quote. And then I went on, I was like, this is probably bullshit. So I went on Google Scholar, and I typed in Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad Company, found the case. I used a find feature, Control F, and I started typing the quote. And it was there, word for word, exactly what AI told me. And I was like, dude, like,
huge.
I could have been searching for that piece of information for years and would have never found it. It changed the whole game. It changed my whole thing. That's when the treatise of the word person was originally born, and all. I mean, my whole platform changed because I found the exact moment when legal fictions were added in as persons under the 14th Amendment.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, because, looking for these court cases and stuff like that, it could be a pain.
Yeah, how would you find them? But AI, I'm telling you, if you word it right, and then if it gives you a bunch of crap, you can kind of sift through it. You can be like, okay. Because, like, for example, it'll say, like, oh, no, that case was overturned by this case, and then you go look at that case, and it wasn't overturned. But, like, they said it overturned this other case, but it, like, totally didn't. It's, like, weird. And, it, like, AI gets confused and stuff. So... Like relative type stuff, I don't really have it do. I think it's a little bit too complicated for AI. But just find this thing, or find me a court case where they're talking about, Federal Reserve notes, or find me a court case. Can you list for me 5 Supreme Court cases where they're talking about how, Federal Reserve notes are legal tender and how that works? Or can you find me any Supreme Court cases revolving around the Emergency Banking Act? Around that time, something like that, and it'll just feed you cases, and then you can go and read the cases. That to me has been utterly life-changing.
That's really good. So that's a good way to use it. But like I said, like the people who I see using it, they send me stuff. Oh, this is what AI gave me, and I'm like.
And it has when I start seeing the check marks and the X's and the little emojis, I just block them. Literally, I don't even just block. I don't even want to look at it.
I don't want to block those people. I want to have a conversation with them. Some dude, some guy went off. He's probably still commenting on this Facebook post now, but he goes, "You have to become a declared resident." And I was like, "Nope, you don't want to do that." The guy's so insistent about it. He goes, "You have to be a resident. You have to be a declared resident." I'm like, "You don't want to do that." And then he's like, "Well, you don't understand the U.S. corporation." I'm like. Yes, I understand that whole scenario. You don't understand what a resident is. This is the problem. You're saying the only way you can be free is by becoming a declared resident? You're fucking wrong.
That's the road straight to hell.
I was like, dude, you're just flat out fucking wrong. I was like, I don't care. I'm just going to tell you that's just wrong. And then he goes on about this. There must be like 40 comments in this thing. And finally, I'm like, okay, where's the definition of declared resident that you're talking about? He goes, I don't know. I said, you don't know where it is? I said, you don't fucking come on my platform, fucking make these comments like this and start telling people some shit that you can't even back up. I don't do that. You don't do that on my platform. And if you don't know the definition of something and you don't know where the definition is, that's irresponsible. That's highly irresponsible. And he was like, you need to chill out. I said, you need to be responsible. If you're going to push around terms and then you don't know where the definition is, that's fucking bullshit. So then he takes 2 days to go get the definition. He gets the definition, right? And I said, where's that coming from? Where's the definition coming from? And he goes, it comes from this guy. So I go look the guy up. The guy runs a PMA called the United States of America. And I'm like, some dude invented a definition. You're going with that thinking it's more valid than what Congress says? Dude, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, you need to wake the fuck up, dude. Like, stop living in fucking fantasy world. Like, I'm sorry, but people like that drive me absolutely nuts.
Well,
I still won't block them.
You and me are on totally opposite ends of the spectrum. You get this guy like Hambone and all these fucking people coming on your shit.
Hambone, everyone
I see Hambone on there, and I'm like, man, I would have blocked that guy. Reading the third word of his first comment, he would have been blocked. I block like I told you, 2 to 8 people a day, I'd say on average.
Oh,
you know?
My God. So
I have 744 people blocked on Instagram, and I guarantee you it's in the several thousands on Facebook.
So I got a couple of reasons why I don't block people. Number one, I do believe in freedom of speech, and I want to hear people's opinions. Two, I want to see if someone can actually challenge what I'm saying, if they have a valid challenge against me. So I give them time to work up their argument. I'm like, all right, let me hear them out. Maybe I can learn something from them. 9 out of 10 times I don't. I don't learn anything from them. And most of the time it's just people saying stupid crap and they can't back anything up.
If I see something challenging that actually has some substance to it, I won't block them. But it has to show me that they're actually trying to understand, or they're actually putting some effort into trying to understand. And it can't be like this weird gay confrontational type thing that just pisses me off.
Yeah.
But if it's something that's actually challenging, but it's actually challenging in an intelligent basis, I'm not going to block that person. But that's just so rare. Oh, my God. I might get like a few of those a year, like a handful of those a year I might get. So I'm aggressive, but
yeah,
if you're going to just show up on my platform out of nowhere and start running your mouth.
Now here's the other reason.
The way that I compute this, it's very, very simple. Someone has entered my space and they're looking for the exit door. All I'm doing is just helping them find the door. That's the way I look at it. It's very simple. It's like, all right, this guy's lost. He went through the wrong door. He's looking for the exit door. I'm a nice guy. I'm going to help him find the exit door. And the best exit door there is the one that opens up to literally just throwing them off the side of the mountain into the ocean. And they're never going to be able to find their way back. And that, to me, is the best type of exit door that I could possibly help them find. And that's why I blocked them. I blocked them out of the goodness of my heart.
Right on. So, I mean, that's fine. That's,
you know what I mean? That's why I do it. That's why I
care about you. I love you.
Yep.
Get the fuck out of my life.
Forever. You're gone forever. You know what I mean? You're gone forever.
But another thing, I like keeping people like that around because I can utilize them to make more content. Because people say things.
It's true.
And I love it because they'll say things like Hambone, especially because he used to work for a state legislator, so he's really,
So he's extra stupid.
Yeah. But he'll say things, and I'm like, please source your information. So he tried to attack the legal fiction like the last couple of days, and I just showed it. I did one video, and I just showed the legal fiction definition out of Black Law's dictionary and how it works. I showed the court cases that it came from, and then his comment was, prove that the courts use this. And I'm like, dude, you are... And then he just makes all of these comments, and I'm like, dude, you're so frantically losing your mind now because I just blew up your entire stupid argument with one little video, and you have nothing. So I love that stuff. The lawyers on TikTok, however, will not talk to me.
Well, that's why I did that debate with Artie.
Because he was willing to talk.
I thought that was a fantastic opportunity, and that's why I said on the video, and I said in the comments after the video, I wouldn't get everybody tearing up on him because, you know, the fact that he was willing to talk is pretty wild, you know.
Yeah. No, that's true. But the lawyers used to come at me on TikTok, and then one day they just all of them, it was all at the same time. They just stopped, all of them.
Was it bots or was it real people?
It's real lawyers, because they have profiles where they share stuff and they make videos.
It's kind of weird that they all left at the same time. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, all at the same time. They all just stopped communicating to me. All of a sudden, I didn't block any of them. They all have access to my. They just stopped.
I don't ever get the only lawyers that I ever get, literally ever, are people who like my shit. Every once in a blue moon, I'll get one talking some shit, and if I on Instagram, you can see that they're a lawyer like right away because it'll say like you know, some kind of lawyer related thing in the thing, and it'll be them in a suit. And if I look at it, if it's like a well articulated comment, and I can see that they're in a suit, and I can see, oh, this is a lawyer. Click on it, and it'll say, you know, law firm of blah blah blah, Miami, blah blah blah. Oh, so I'll fuck with those guys sometimes. I have some fun with that, but that's very rare, very very rare that happens.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, but they all just stopped suddenly, and I'm like, what happened? Because I was making great content off of their comments. You know, they would make, I mean, their comments were really good. They had good comments. They'd make good statements. And then I would say, okay, great point. Look at what this court case actually says. And then I would go through the case. And one of the lawyers actually was like, okay, you're the first guy to ever do that. I'll admit that. No one ever reads the case. And then he stopped talking to me because he was like, shit, I can't. Because he was making the same stupid arguments he makes to like everyone else who shows that little. It's that thing about the officer, the lawyer's an officer of the court.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he's like, but you never read the case. I said, I absolutely read that case. Why would I not have read that case? So I pulled up the case and I said, see, it says here, this was the scenario, was that the lawyer was this guy's friend. He's trying to be his lawyer. They said, you can't do both. You have to pick sides. And I showed all the different things that was going on in that case, why, like, he has to pick. If he's going to be this guy's friend and be a witness for him, he can't be his lawyer. Right, but if he's gonna,
well,
then
it's
he
right
can't.
in the rules of professional conduct that
Yeah.
a lawyer can't be a witness and can only be a witness, or an advocate can't be both at the same time. We use that all the time in our cases, and it's weird. Like the courts won't even like acknowledge it. It's really weird how they've never. I don't think anyone's ever really used that. That was actually a Joey idea. Joey recommended we started using that. We started using that, and no court has ever even acknowledged the fact that it even exists. They won't even talk about it. It's very weird.
They don't want to. But yeah, once I pointed out what was going on in the case and said that he had to choose, and that basically his job said that he needs to be a lawyer first, and you know, like he has to do that. He can't be a witness or help his buddy out. He has to be a lawyer and honor the court's wishes first. That guy just wouldn't respond after that. He said, "Okay, you read the case. I'll admit you're the only one I know, the only one I've seen to read the case," and that was all he went with that. And I've never heard from that guy again.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't really get anything. I have a whole subreddit talking about me all the time. The Sovereign Citizen subreddit. I'm like every 5 or 6 posts on there. And the lawyer channel on Reddit started talking about me recently. There's been a bunch of posts about me recently in the lawyer Reddit. Apparently, in the lawyer community, I've gotten fairly popular. But they don't come on my shit though.
No, they're just going to talk trash and hopefully get. They know that the Reddit community will come in and listen and read their stuff. And
some of it's kind of mixed, actually. Ironically enough, not in the Sovereign Citizen subreddit, but in the lawyer subreddit, there's a little bit of a mixture. It's not like heavily mixed, but there's a little bit of like fascination behind it. Obviously, it's fascinating, you know. I think part of it is just fascinating for a lot of these people that any of this stuff even exists. This guy's got his own law firm, and he's not, you know, all this kind of stuff. And he's saying he's a white state citizen and fucking doing all these lawsuits about negotiable instruments and money, and it's all very wild. You know, it's all very crazy and out of the ordinary. It's like very.
I will admit something. I do have lawyers that follow me on TikTok. Right.
And they don't ever say anything.
No, they don't. They don't comment, but I watch their content too, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I'm not going to name any names because I don't know if they want to be called out, but because I follow them as well, but you can't see my follower list, like who I'm following.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how that happened. It just is. I don't know. But
yeah, I started following a ton of different attorneys too, like Cogdale is one of my favorite. I really like him. The Texas, San Antonio, Texas. He's a criminal defense attorney. He's got all sorts of. He's been doing it for 30-something years. It's called Cogdale Uncensored, something like that. I really like his stuff. There's some judges now. Have you seen the judges?
No.
They're active, practicing judges, and they have their own TikToks, and it's them talking about really basic things, and it's actually really informative and really cool. And then like the staff, like the court clerk and the staff, even does videos on there sometimes, and it's really cool actually. I have a ton of that kind of stuff on my feed now. But to get back to your point on the officer of the court, even in TV shows, they talk about this officer of the court thing. Like, for example, Better Call Saul, they reference the idea of officer of the court several times. They actually, in one episode, they talk about it extensively. Officer of the court. I'm an officer of the court. I have a duty to the court. I have a duty to the public. You see it in Law and Order. You see it in just normal, I think, Suits, talks about it multiple times in that show. It's not really even like a super secret hidden thing. It's literally almost like a pop culture icon aspect for. It's
like something that everyone's supposed to know, but people it just goes right over their heads when they're watching these shows and stuff like that. They're just like, they're in a daze or something, I guess. But yeah, it's out there. If you watch the X-Files, you see it in the X-Files too. They mentioned it. That's where I first heard it, was watching the X-Files when I was a kid. Right? They said, I'm an officer of the court. I have to report this if you tell me a crime. And I was like, the lawyer has to tell. I was like, what?
It's 18 U.S.C. 4, I believe, actually.
Yeah. I learned that when I was like 12.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, all right. And it just stuck in my head ever since then. You know, like it was just like a random piece of information I learned from watching the X-Files that just never left my head.
Yeah. So what else? Let's start wrapping this up. We've been going 2.5 hours. It's beautiful. What else has been going on since 23? What else has been happening? Anything else besides that major case?
The case, the trust stuff, some other
the
court
book,
cases.
The school.
I got the school thing. You want to see it?
We're going to do that last. So just anything else that's been going on over the past 2.5 years.
Oh, I'm trying to think, man. I mean, really, it's just been that, building up the, helping structure some PMAs and stuff like that, getting people moving on creating their PMAs so that way they can, get their income flowing, money flowing, whatever you want to call it.
Do you have any cases going on right now?
I'm helping a couple of people with some issues with the state, but there's no active cases right now.
None of your own, though?
No. I got nothing.
Okay.
They just, I've been getting the silent treatment. They won't talk to me. They don't pull me over. They don't talk to me. This is probably the quietest it's ever been in my entire life.
Wow,
the
look
legal
at that.
system.
That's cool. You're a walking success story, Mr. Lusty.
Well, someone had to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been very quiet ever since that case. Like, the cops were following me during that case. Like, I couldn't go anywhere 5 minutes in any direction without the cops being there. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, one day I was on the phone talking with somebody, and I'm in the middle of a block, and a cop pulls up, stops where I'm standing, and rolls his window down. And I'm like, you can't get more obvious than this. Right? So I'm on the phone with someone, and I go, hey, the cops stopped there listening to our conversation, so let's talk about some weird stuff. Right? So we started talking about, like, pool noodles and orifices that you can try to squeeze them into.
Hey, now we're talking. Now you're talking my language.
And he's kind of like, then he starts moving a little bit like, because he's like, oh, they're actually doing this conversation just to fuck with me, But then he drove off, and then he circled around the block and came back and did it again. And I'm like, oh, man. And for about 2 to 3 months, I tried to write it off as like I'm just being a little delusional and being a little crazy. But after a while,
I'm like, after
a while, I was like, no. they're just watching me. They're following me absolutely 100%. Because I was walking down the street one night, and the cops come. They drove around the block, right? When they saw me, they turned, came around again, and then put their floodlights on me, right? And then sped off, and then came back, and they kept following me as I was walking around. And I'm like, oh, God. You know, sometimes I just like to go for a walk.
That dark-skinned son of a bitch. Let's get him, boys.
So I knew they were following me, but after I was doing this stuff at the court, it was like shortly before the case ended, I submitted something into the court, some other paperwork before the writ, and all of a sudden everything stopped. They stopped following me. I was like, wow, it's quiet. I don't see the cops aren't everywhere every 5 minutes, but that went on for like 9 months where they just followed me everywhere.
So since the summer of 25, which honestly is still pretty new for you, everything's been super, super quiet.
Yeah.
So you've been living like 7 months of like, well, it's also kind of nice too because it was hell for like a year. So you're probably really enjoying the solace of the last 7 months.
Yeah, not being bothered, not being harassed, not being followed, you know. It was always something, man, with the cops for since I was 18, and to have some like quietness about that is very nice, because it's just I've been dealing it with. I mean, I wasn't even a month into my 18th birthday, and I got arrested. You know,
for walking or something, for talking, walking, eating.
For talking. It was for talking.
There's the Lust, dude. There he is. That's the Lusty. Get him. Public enemy number one, dude. I'm telling you.
The first 3 times I got arrested were all for talking. The second time was because I told the cops that if someone threatens my life, I'll just take matters in my own hand. So they arrested me.
And who'd have thought all these years, all you had to do was just exfoliate and you would have been fine. All right, on that note, let's see this school, brother. Show us school.
All right, let's see. So...
Show us the school.
This is it right here. All right. This is
Liberty Foundation.
So yeah.
How does someone find this first off? Because that's going to be the first question. How does somebody is there a website they go to or something, or how do they find it?
It's skool.com.
And then you have it's like a section inside of that web. They have to create an account on skoll.com, and then they can find your
I think you can find
system.
It without it.
Oh, okay.
I think you'll be able to find it without it. But yeah, so.
But they have to create a school login, correct? That's probably the first thing you have to do.
What am I looking at? Oh, I'm on here. Okay, I got confused for a second here. All right, so this is the Liberty Foundation. But yeah, so what you do is it's up here. It's Liberty-Foundation-1659. That's just the number it gave me, so I don't know.
But if you go on to skoll.com and then there's a search bar and you type in Liberty Foundation, they'll find it, right?
Yeah, they'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you could type in my name.
Joseph Lustica. The full name of Joseph.
That's right. Well, that's a DBA. I have that as a DBA too, so.
Yeah, but it's a Joe's world. Joey Kimbrough, Brandon Joe Williams, and Joseph Lusty. You know, it's a Joe's world, dude.
I find it very funny. A lot of people call you Joe. Right?
I know. It's a little bit annoying. It's like, how is that even possible? I mean, it's not even, you know.
And I'm like, you mean Brandon? They're like, oh, yeah, Brandon. Like, his name is Brandon, you know.
But it's just funny, like, coming from the Midwest, it's like some people call me Brandon Joe. And what's funny is you'd think we talk like that in the Midwest because it sounds like that, Brandon Joe. But the only person who ever called me Brandon Joe was my biological father. He'd go, Brandon Joe, Brandon Joe, Brandon Joe. But nobody else ever called me Brandon Joe. But then my older stepbrother's name is Brandon. So when my mom started dating my stepdad, I have a stepbrother named Brandon. He's older, so he gets the actual name Brandon. And then I was called BJ. So my name was BJ throughout my whole childhood. And then people, oh, your name is BJ? That's hilarious. Ha ha. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Laugh about it. I didn't really care. It's like, I hear it every day, so whatever. So BJ was actually my name. It wasn't Brandon Joe. It was BJ. So it's kind of funny.
All right. But yeah, so this is it. And what I put on here, I have like an introduction video to show people, but it was much different then. That wasn't even that long ago, because I've added a lot more courses since then. Can
you move your mic? Because I think you're leaned forward just a little bit. There we go.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
Yeah,
so much better.
And these are successes that people wrote inside the group. So like I blocked out their names, of course, and stuff like that. And like, for instance, like this guy, he's been on this for 10 years. And he's just so happy to be in this thing, right?
Hell yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I finally found somebody who really knows their stuff and really works things out. Here's a success with the car thing, right? And this is one of the things I was talking about earlier. This is exactly what happened. The judge read the submitted docs for a while and then asked if the state's attorney wished to dismiss. I'm telling you, the thing that I'm doing...
So when they do this, so are you issuing these documents live for the first time in a hearing, or you're bringing up a document that's already on a docket?
It's already on the docket.
So the prosecutor has a copy already, and the judge already has a copy, and then they're bringing up, let's say, docket item number 7 during the hearing, and then they're both already aware of what you're referring to, and then the judge then turns to the prosecutor and says, would you like to dismiss this? And the prosecutor... So it's almost as if they spoke about this previously or something. That kind of a vibe?
It seems like that.
Okay.
It's hard to say because we don't really know.
Okay.
There's probably some ex parte communication going on first. But they look at this thing, the thing that we're doing, and they just go, this is what happens every single time. And I found that very interesting. So, and then if we go into, like, we have a community. I'm going to try to be a little careful about it. But if we go into the community, I have a welcome thing here. There's stuff in here, general discussions. All the group meetings are in here. So you can always find all the meetings.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. So we have every meeting in here. And then I think it's this one. If you look, let's see. No, not in this one. Okay. Maybe it's in this one. No. Whatever. Anyway, in these, I think it's actually called meeting 2. Yeah, this one. See here, she has the outline detailed. Right?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we can find all this stuff out. In fact, the New Jersey court website case display. Oh, yeah, this is when I was showing all my court cases throughout my life. Right? And like all the New Jersey cases I went through, and how most of these were like driver's licenses and no registration tickets, and how most of them got dismissed, even from when I was younger. Most of them, not all of them. I've lost. But quo warranto, government authority, jurisdiction. So there's a lot of stuff that we cover in these meetings. Anecdote about court case losses, advice on legal strategies.
So this is once a week you guys have these meetings?
For now, yeah. Like later on, we might going to do different meetings for the different courses. And this is where we get to.
But you have these are the courses here. This one here.
These are the courses, yeah.
Hey, you got to rename revocation of election, brother.
I'm gonna come up with a better name for it. This is just
Joe and I talked about this because some people are like, "Oh, Joe's saying the revocation of election. Brandon's saying don't do it." Joe is using that term, but he's actually not referring to what people think when they hear the words revocation of election. So Joe and I actually talked on the phone about this extensively, and Joe is going to change the wording of it because he's actually not talking about what people would think of 2 years ago as a revocation of election. He's actually got a great thing he's doing. But calling it a revocation of election is it's a little bit confusing because he's really not doing what people would think to be a revocation of election.
Right. There's I actually covered it in this course. So I'll show you how this course works out, right? Like these are how the courses are. There's a sequential order that you do them all in, right? Of course, the first one is we're going to find out where is the United States.
Nice.
Okay. So it's a very short video, 4 minutes long. And then we have the questions. Where is the United States located? Why do statutory definitions control the meaning and terms throughout the UCCs, right? And then there's an essay and stuff like that. This is a very short one because it's very short. And then what is the United States? So find out, first you got to find out where it is. Then you find out what it is.
Nice.
Right? So that's the thing. And so then we go into this short essay. You know, these are not long. I had to explain in another one. And then non-resident aliens don't pay taxes. Okay? We go through that. The Social Security scheme, which is a bit longer, and it goes into more things about stuff like that. What action must an individual take in order to be assigned a Social Security number? Right? How does this define the term individual using federal statutory language? How are the Social Security trust funds described in terms of where the money is held and how it's used? So a lot of this has to do with, like, how are you going to apply this stuff? Like, we're looking at, like, an applicable thing here, right? Then we talk about the rebut of the U.S. citizenship presumption with a Social Security number. Now, this right here is the video that explains the actual legal authority to do the quote-unquote revocation of election. It's just a rule that you can use to convert the Social Security number from domestic to foreign. And now the IRS refiles this number as a foreign entity rather than as a now we've done it with using the revocation election process, but it's just this video right here breaks that whole thing down, how that actually really works. And then this also gets people to understand the stuff, presumptions in administration, stuff like that. Like, how is all this stuff working? So these questions are really designed to get people to really think with the information rather than be kind of like, you know, like robots and just repeating back information, because that's mostly what we see anyway. People usually spit back out the same stuff over and over again, and then when you challenge them on the application of that, they don't know where to go. Well, I don't know. I say, fuck all that. I want you guys to be able to apply this information, think with the information. That's what the questions are for, the essays are for. You know, you could send them. People send them to me. It's like, check them out. I even have like little study journals that I made that people can get, so that way they can put all their answers down. And then when they're done with the course, they have a whole book of their own writing about the subject that they just studied.
Damn, you've been busy.
Yeah,
Mr.
man.
Lust.
This is what I'm doing, man. But this is a lot of fun. And then what we did is I figured out the actual correct way.
Oh, yeah,
now this is not on
NR.
Rumble. The filing the 1040 NR correctly to get all taxes back.
1040X and 1040NR. You do the X as well, right?
No, just the NR.
Oh, okay.
I actually went through this whole thing. I figured it out. I spent so much time in the CFRs looking at how this thing was to be done, and I had a big realization about the 1040. You can do a 1040X on years that you did file previously.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
because it's because the title is to get all taxes back. So I figured it's got to be an NR and an X both.
Well, this one's just for, like, if it's last year, you just do the NR. If you're trying to get the money back.
To get it all back at the end of the same calendar year. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
right.
I get it.
Yeah, from that calendar. If you want to do the previous ones, you could do the 1040X, but there's something else that I found that was huge, okay, regarding how this is actually filed, because I went on other people's shows and listened to what they're saying, and they're telling you to add the Schedule OI, and I realized, because I did this with people too, this was one of the mistakes that was made, was that the OI uses a tax treaty. We have no tax treaty as a state citizen. It just doesn't apply. So I realized that whole process is wrong, and there's a better process that actually works, and it's valid. And the thing I found from this right here and from this was this CFR in here. There's these CFRs in here. And this tells you what you're supposed to do when you file the 1040 NR. And nobody does this because no one's read this. And that's when I had this big realization. And in fact, I actually have the PDF in here for the disclosure statement that you're supposed to file. So there's a whole disclosure statement that goes along with it. I put one together just for that. And this is the thing. This is the how we're doing this. Under this 26 CFR, right? Yeah, if they have no gross income. So there's a whole thing on that. And I'm telling you, like, when I did my homework on this stuff, and you know that. I mean, I shouldn't.
The fucking Lustinator, dude. Of course I know.
Now, here's the other thing. The courses are done in sequential order.
Oh, okay.
It's like they're labeled Course 1, Course 2, right? Forms of government is just these can be done anytime. Like Trust 101, forms of government, those can be done anytime. Non-ROE candidate, that's after this one. If you update the passport, we also do the assumed name with that. But then the ROE, not we come up with. I'll figure out a better name.
I don't think a state citizen is a national, but anyways, just a side note.
Well, it's, I get that, but yeah, the assumed name. All right. I just put that becoming national state citizen, nationals in quotes, because that's what people relate it to.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So assume name. This actually has way more modules than people realize. Okay. I have 6 modules on here, and there's a lot of stuff going on with this. All right. These modules have lots of essays, questions. This is a 6-minute video, and I got tons of questions for this. Okay. Module 2. Okay, lots of essays, right? Critical thinking stuff. I want people to really understand this, because this is where we run into some really fascinating stuff. Okay,
so how does it work? Workshop. There's a little you have to watch the video, and then you have to go through and do all of the essays.
That's right.
And then do you check them, or is it just for their own personal use?
If they want me to check them, I'll check them. But it's really for their own personal use. That's why every meeting I say, who's having a problem with what? But as time goes on, what I'm going to do in the group, I'm going to hold daily meetings for certain classes. So I'm going to say, okay, so Wednesday at 6 p.m., we're going to hold a class for the Assume Name course. Okay? And then what we're going to do is that course is going to be, everyone who's on that course will show up to that meeting. And then we look over the essays, work out whatever troubles they're running into, and what modules they're on, see how far they're getting, what they're getting stuck on, confused on, etc. Right? And this is a full workshop that I did. Right? This is like an hour and 40-minute video almost.
I can see from all the pictures of the videos, this is all you've taken all your content over the last 3 years, and you've collected it all together, and you've put it all. I can see the different dates because I know what your stuff looks like from the different time periods.
Yes, yeah. Some of it is because it's been out there, but then there's stuff like this on here, this here. This is all stuff that's just in here.
Okay.
The last 2 modules are not on Rumble, and then I have a whole course here, this courtroom mastery course. Zero of this is on Rumble.
Okay.
None of this is on Rumble. So this is jurisdiction. Status and the legal fiction, right? The power of language. I just couldn't come up with a name with this. And then part 5.
Part 4.
Part 4.
So
then I started going through, I started doing part 6, and then I realized that I had way more stuff to do for the civil procedure section, so I had to create 2 other things. So I have just the original consent, jurisdiction, right? You have to have consent and stuff like that. Personal jurisdiction, minimum contacts. This is all broken down in a 20-minute video. Commercial versus non-commercial for non-residents, right? How does this all apply? Very thorough stuff. We're talking I'm not playing around with people. When I want people to be educated and learn their shit, this is what I'm talking about, right? And yes, this is a real thing. Internet jurisdiction litigation strategy. You're sued for online content. This happens nowadays. So this is actually something that needs to be addressed. So this is still in works. There's a couple other classes that are still in works. This discharging debt is still in works. There's actually a section that needs to be uploaded. I thought I uploaded, but I guess I didn't. So this one's still in the works. And then this one I just started today. And there's a whole bunch of stuff on here. This is not done yet. But that's the courses, and there's more. How to do the administrative process, prepaid mail, and then of course I have the people inside the community who are requesting other courses, which I will do, right? So what I'm doing first is I'm taking the content that I have on Rumble, the different videos, and formulating into a course that provides some remedy. Some of those courses or some of those videos on Rumble, I'll have something, and then I'll create an extra video for the course in there in order to give a full roundabout of everything that's going on, a full-on remedy, without because sometimes I put Rumble videos out on Rumble, and then the cops are all over me afterwards, within a couple of days. I'm like, geez, man, I can't tell anybody anything anymore,
Jesus Christ, man, how long has it been since I've exfoliated? I gotta call the Vietnamese girls, you know what I Oh man, you know what I mean?
But that's the school group, and that's what we're doing in there. And a lot of people are very happy, having a lot of successes in there. And I just shared. There's more that keep coming up, but I just haven't uploaded them to the About page. Yeah, but it's been pretty awesome.
It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like you guys are doing a lot of cool stuff. It looks like a lot's happening, and I know you're very much in like create, expand mode, and there's all sorts of things that, I mean, I can tell this thing's going to be, twice the size and twice the breadth probably in the next 2 months, 3 months, something like that, and it's just going to continue to grow. I think it's very cool to see it. So, very cool.
Yeah, no, it's been great, and it's something. It's what I've been wanting to do anyway. I just didn't know that there was even a platform that existed that could do it. And I got to thank the people who pushed me to go make the school group, because I wasn't even going to make it, and I was just not going to do it. And then I had a couple of people reach out to me in email saying, "Hey, you got to make some courses or something, man. Please, please, please do it." And I said, "Yeah, okay, I could do that." And I was like, I just don't know how I would do it. And they said, "Use School. School is a great platform for that." And I went and checked it out, and I said, "Actually, this is a good platform. I kind of like this." I said, "All right, I'm going to sign up. I'll try it out and see how it goes." And I think it was like $10 a month to start, but I switched to the Pro thing because I can offer more features to the people through the Pro settings. So I eventually went with that. But I said, you know what, $10 a month just to see if this is the right platform. I'll try it out, and it's absolutely wonderful. So,
fuck yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah, and no scammers. So there's people pretending to be me on TikTok and on Telegram.
Oh, I know, I get that too. I know.
That's why I went and got the blue check mark on Facebook, so that way they couldn't pretend to be me on Facebook.
That's why I went and got it. I got the check mark on all the different platforms. I got the X check mark. I've got the Facebook check mark. I've got the Instagram check mark, and I've had that shit for years, and it's still every once in a while that's a problem with scammers.
It's amazing. They're so fucking pieces of shit.
It's terrible, but
no.
That's one benefit of telling your audience to go fuck themselves, and I don't want to talk to you every 5 seconds, because then when they get this messages, and it's messages and messages and messages, and they seem very interested to talk to you, it's like, there's no way this is Brandon. I couldn't get a hold of him unless I paid him $2,000 an hour. So that kind of builds into like the protection and the security of the platform, but still, the blue check mark makes a big difference,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I tell people, if you want to know if it's really me, just go to Facebook and ask me.
I always laugh, dude. I'm always like, dude, TikTok is such a shithole, because I go on there. Hey, is this really Joe? Yeah, it's me. Hi. Like every month you do like a hi, this is really my profile video, and I'm just like, bro, like what? Like what? How do these people feed themselves? I would just block them. You do a video. Oh yeah, it's me. I'm like, oh cool, block. Don't want this guy here. Looking for the exit door. I got you, brother. I'm your friend. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not trying to hide from people. But no, the scammers are really convincing, and like some people got taken by them. They end up sending scammers like hundreds of dollars, and I'm like I don't go around asking people for money. I'm not doing that. Like I got the school group and stuff like that. If you want to sign up, you can.
How much is the school group?
It's $50 a month.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah. And
you're there every week for the meetings, and there'll probably be more meetings and stuff. So that's pretty good.
In fact, let's see. I just did. So what we do is I do a. Where is it? Come on. I do every week I hold a poll for people to pick what time is best for everyone, and then we just do the time that's the best.
Oh, so it changes every week.
Yeah. So let's see. This week we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow night.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, I'll show you. So we got tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night with the Lust. With the Highlander.
Right there. So everyone picked, most people picked Thursday. Some people picked Friday. It ain't happening tonight. Sorry, people. That's today. But so Thursday we're going to do, yeah. But there you go. That's it. That's how that works. Assume name process. Okay, so I'm going to.
Well, congrats on everything. Congrats on winning your case. Yeah. Congrats on your school. You look like you lost weight. Congrats on that.
Yeah, I lost about 50 pounds.
Yeah, you need new shirts. You look at your shirts. You don't even fit you anymore. Or is that a sweatshirt?
No. This is double XL.
Oh, that's your old size. What are you now, like a large?
Yeah.
So you got to get like new pants and everything. Fuck, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Well done.
I mean, my pants. I look like I'm super baggy now. Yeah, but I lost about 50 pounds and.
Fuck yeah, dude, you look good.
Thanks.
Need to exfoliate a little bit, but besides that. Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I'm just moving along on my cases, and I still have one case of the Ninth Circuit, the MX case. I still have this new one, as obviously the one that a lot of attention's on with the state case with the negotiable instruments. It's fucking amazing. The case is super well put together. I just did my first discovery packet. I just did a video on that last night late. I posted the video at like fucking midnight last night. So I went through the whole discovery packet, my thought processes behind everything and how I researched the questions and what I'm kind of going for. And I went through all the different letters and everything. And then still trying to get the writ of certiorari filed. Like I said, I may have to go to Washington, D.C. to get that done. I'm trying not to do that. And I'm just slowly working my way towards doing 3.0. I'm just kind of still doing research and still putting things together and still writing the outline, just kind of very slowly on the back burner. But I'll probably have the 3.0 course done in the next 3 or 4 months. That's pretty much the update for me.
And it's all litigation and
it's going to be
procedures.
It's going to be procedural. Like probably more than half the content of the course is just going to be us going through every single section of civil procedure, the judicial canons. We're going to go through the rules of professional conduct, the bar rules. We're not going to go through criminal procedure. That's the only thing we're not going to go through. I just don't want to do it. I'm just not going to do it. It's not. I just have zero interest in it, and it's just not something I can. If someone wants to go through criminal procedure, by the time they do 3.0, they can do it on their own, and it'll be easy. I'm just not going to do it.
Well, I will have that up in school because the courtroom mastery course, it's only got like about 8 parts, and there's like a 6-point parts. So that's all of the civil stuff. I'm handling all these civil concepts. Then we're going to go and do criminal concepts, right? And then do all that stuff. So there's going to be different sections on those procedures, these procedures, right? That way people can make their own paperwork, defend themselves in court using all that information.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I'm just going to go into California civil procedure or into federal procedure, civil procedure, and literally we're just going to go line by line through the entire fucking thing. It's going to be like, I don't know, 20 videos long just for civil procedure or 15 videos long.
It's
25 hours of video just on that alone.
I thought about doing that on Rumble.
That's what 3.0 is going to be. So 3.0 is going to be, it's going to start off, it's going to go state citizenship versus U.S. citizenship. It's going to go through the entire treatise on the word person. It's going to go through my book, sections of my book. And then we're going to move from there into negotiable instruments, trusts, splitting ownership. When you have a trust, you split ownership. We're going to get into all that. From there, we're going to move into basic legal structure, basic complaint structure, stuff like that. And then bang, we're going to go into procedure. And then probably 50, 60, 70% of the content of 3.0 is just going to be procedural.
Right. Awesome. So. Yeah, that's nice. That's needed, man. It's really needed. That's what I'm doing. So I'm laying out all this groundwork in that court mastery course. And then I'm gonna do the criminal stuff, and then we're gonna do quasi-criminal because that's all the traffic stuff, and I'm gonna show how that's handled. Then we're gonna probably do something for contracts in there as well, contractual disputes and stuff like that. That's probably about it. And then then we'll do other, because I got about 8 other courses that were requested already, so I have to build those out. But yeah, but that one's going to be huge. It's going to be insane, and there's going to be it's going to be labeled sections. Like I have to figure out how to label the sections so people can just skip certain areas that they don't need.
Part 4, brother. Part 5.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Part 4.
Fuck you, part 4, dude. Go to part 4,
Well, part 4 and part 5 is actually the administrative process, which I did a whole course on. But I was just putting that in there because it just needs to be understood that those things, you can utilize those in courts, right? Are you familiar with the administrative process?
Like the stuff that you do, like building evidence and stuff like that, like preparing for a complaint?
No, this is actually a very interesting type of process. So what you do is, like, let's say you get a bill from a debt collector, or let's say the servicer of a mortgage sends you a mortgage bill, and you look at it and you go, I think something's wrong with this. So what you do is you either do a conditional acceptance or like a negative averment, right? Which is like basically saying, like, this did not happen. I didn't see this. I didn't see these things. I don't know who the holder is. Where's the note, stuff like that. And you ask them for this information. Now, you're well within your right to do that stuff. You can do this, but you can do this in a traffic case. You can do this in a criminal proceeding, right? This is like, all you're doing is sending in this averment, citing things that didn't happen. So it's called negative averment. And you put all this in. You put this into the case, right? Asking for all this information. There's a particular way you have to send it out and stuff like that, so that way it's recognized. But then you do that, and then you do the. If they don't answer within the time allotted, then you do a default, and you could do up to 3 defaults on them. Once you do 3 defaults, you have what's called a common law judgment nil decit. Right, which means that it's basically rules of evidence 301, right? They didn't rebut the presumption. Now what you said stands as truth. You gave them ample time. You gave them ample defaults. It's administratively, you've done everything right. The court could recognize that. A judge would look at it and go, he gave you due process. You didn't rebut his presumption.
Yeah, I've kind of gotten away from any terminology that assumes or presumes that there is such a thing as an administrative process. When I do 3.0, there's only going to be 2 classifications. Every single process and every single piece of information is going to fit into only 2 buckets: pre-litigation and litigation. That's it. There is no other buckets. I'm getting rid of all other buckets. If it's pre-litigation... Pre-litigation doesn't mean that you'll necessarily make it all the way to litigation, because if you settle or if you figure everything out beforehand, then you're not in litigation. But it's pre-litigation. I'm removing all magic letters, all administrative, all external. All of it's getting removed from my entire platform. So that's all going to be called pre-litigation in 3.0.
Yeah, well,
building evidence. That, to me, that's like building evidence. It's not an administrative process. You're just building evidence. You're preparing for litigation.
You could call it that, yeah. I mean, that's what it would be considered, because under rules of evidence 301, you would win the case just based off of that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This process, when it's done correctly, I haven't gotten to the 3rd default with anyone I've done this with yet, because everyone gives up before we finish the thing.
Oh, I can imagine. I just don't, like, that could change or blah, blah, blah. You never know, blah, blah. And like calling it pre-litigation and calling it evidence building and calling it preparing for litigation, it just sets people up to where, like, if things change or if things shift or if people start litigating or whatever, then they're going to be ready for what comes next. And plus, you should always be thinking from a plaintiff standpoint. Like, if you try to fuck with me, I'm gonna try to sue you before you can sue me, if possible. I always think it's better to pull the gun out and shoot first. But the problem that I've always been running into is lack of damages. That's always been my issue. Lack of damages, can't structure a cause of action. So a huge part of 3.0 is going to be, this sounds crazy, but this is how I'm going to do it, because this is what I had to do. You have to basically set yourself up. Like, everyone's running around talking about administrative processes and all this kind of stuff to try to prevent damages. But what you want is, you want to think of everything as pre-litigation, and you want to place yourself specifically in harm's way, and you want to goad them to harm you. That's how 3.0 is going to be structured. 3.0 is where do I have to position myself, and what do I have to say and do to build the evidence required to get them to harm me in a way where I can structure a cause of action so I can go on the offensive. That's going to be the entire backbone of 3.0. So it's a little bit confusing, because it's sort of like, it's almost like war, essentially. You have to get them to attack you so that you can say that everything is now justified. It's kind of that same idea, but we're not doing it from a revenge basis. We're doing it from a basis of you can't structure a cause of action unless you're harmed. So you have to get harmed. It's like you have to get your car taken away. You have to get beaten. You have to get tased. You have to get foreclosed on. Something has to happen. And what it does is it kind of releases you because you're in this like prison of anxiety trying to figure out all the time, how do I not get harmed? How do I not get harmed? And 3.0 is going to completely shatter that. You're going to be going out into the world trying to get harmed. That's going to be the whole purpose. It's going to be a complete shift.
I know a guy who does that.
You have to get harmed to get the cause of action. You have to get the cause of action to go on the offensive. The entire basis is to go on the offensive. All this defensive stuff has got to go because the defensive stuff creates anxiety. You're not enjoying your life because you're not thinking correctly. If you were thinking correctly, you'd be trying to get damaged on purpose. You're trying to position yourself. How can I get damaged the hardest and the fastest? Where do I have to be? What do I have to say to get my legs bashed in? That's what you want.
Yeah, I know a guy. You would love this guy, all right? So he'll be like, I need some money. Let me get some money. So what he'll do, and this.
Are you talking about the Elvis impersonator, the midget in Times Square?
No. I'm talking about this.
Do you remember him? Do you remember him?
Yes, I remember him.
That's what he. Did I ever tell you the story? It's what he does. He goes into hotels, and he sits down, and he gets kicked out, and then he sues. He has a lawyer, and he sues. Did you ever know that about that guy? Did you ever know that?
I didn't know he was actually winning, though.
That's what he does. I saw him in the Starbucks right around the corner on Times Square, and I sat next to him, and I've seen him a million times. I said, "Hey, man," I said, "you don't need to take pictures with nobody. Like, what do you do?" And he turns to me, and he goes, "Well, I go into hotels. He told me himself in person to my face while dressed as Elvis. He's like, well, I go in hotels and I just sit on the couch. And I just sit there and I don't make noise. I don't do anything. And they say, oh, sir, are you this or are you that? And you go, no. And they go, oh, I'm really sorry, sir. You're going to have to leave. And he leaves and he sues for discrimination. No joke, dude. Makes a living. That's the guy. I don't know if he's still around. This was 15 years ago.
I don't know. I'll keep my eye out for him. But no, there's a guy, what he does, he goes, man, I need some money. So he'll go get into his car, drive out somewhere where there's cops around, and go do donuts in his car. Right? So,
I would like this guy. I already know. I like this guy already.
And the cops will stop him. They'll be like, well, you're going to get a ticket. And he goes, really? You're going to violate my rights? They're like, dude, you can't do that. He goes, all right. And he ends up winning in court. He sues him in federal court every single time and wins money from doing donuts in front of cops. And I'm like, dude, I got to learn this. He goes, he actually stopped doing it now. He went and retired, and now he's doing like a job. He moved out from one state to another. He's like, I'm going to retire from that and go do this. But the guy has made like a lot of money doing that because he's winning lawsuits. He's winning like $50,000, $60,000.
He probably just settles them as fast as possible. Yeah, it's probably just a quick settle, just get it done, you know.
I'll talk to him though. He'll probably tell me what he does. He told me a couple of things that he would do in these, because what the city does is the city comes after him really hard, but he sues them in federal court and wins and gets money and gets a settlement. And then, but he says what he'll do is he'll write to the judge's house and send like letters to the judge's house. And they freak out because they don't know how the hell he got it. You know, they're on like these lists where you don't put out their information, right? So like, you can't get their addresses and stuff like that. But he figures a way around it and he'll write them a letter. Go, hey, you know, just so you know, we have the court case coming up soon. You know, da 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 da, and they're like, what? He's like,
he's too good.
He is good. So good, man.
I would like this guy. Yeah, you're right. I like him already, actually, in fact. I like him already.
He went to law school, though.
Wow, that's even wilder.
He went to law school. Now, here's the other thing. He doesn't put plates on his car at all. So he's doing donuts in the street with no plates on the car.
Hell yeah, brother. That's America, baby. You know what I'm talking about?
But he's a cool guy. He's a cool dude. The thing was, he never got the bar. He finished school, and then he said, "I don't think I can do this kind of job." He's like, "It just morally does not work for me." Like after he went through the schooling and everything.
I've got morals, so I'm gonna actually apply my morals. I'm gonna take my plates off, do donuts on the street, and then sue the cops federally. But that's true. That's how I think. You're talking to me, basically. It sounds like you're talking to me. Who are you talking to? You know what I mean?
You would like this guy.
Yeah,
man.
you're talking to me, man. That's how I feel. I would never do what the bar cards do. I'd kill myself before I'd, work for Moloch practically. It's like, but doing donuts in the street with no plates and suing that sounds fantastic. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. Too good.
But he quote unquote retired from all this stuff. He's like, I'm gonna go live a quiet life now, and he's doing something else now. But he's happy. I still talk with him. He's still a cool guy. But man, the guy, it's so funny. I need to make some money.
Shooting pistol out the window. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that's how 3.0 is going to go down. It's going to have a whole like positioning section where like how do you position yourself and what do you say to like get them to harm you, and then you're basically just playing like a waiting game at that point. Like you want them, and then all of it's just pre-litigation. It's all just pre-litigation.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's how it's going to be. So I'm just putting it all together. It's kind of slow because there's just a lot of pieces that I'm like currently developing and stuff. So I'm just like, it's not, I'm in no rush to make it because I don't even really have everything I need to make it yet. But it's coming together slowly over the next handful of months, so.
Yeah. Nice, man.
But that's how it's going to be. It's going to be wild. It's going to be a wild ride. So it'll be fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I look forward to that. No, that's gonna be epic, though.
Well, you still need to read my book, and you still need to look at my Writ of Certiorari. I think you'd love my Writ of Certiorari.
I have it right here. Look, I got the book right here.
I sent Joe a signed copy of my book. Oh, look at that. Is that the one I signed?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Prove it. This is pre-litigation. There it is, to Dr. Lust. Beautiful, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you'll love the book. You'll love the book because you read the TM 2025. It's got a bunch of got a bunch of stuff in there that had to get removed about the 14th Amendment. We're all one. It's kind of liberal the way that it was written about the citizenship stuff. It's kind of like we're all one person and we're no longer racist. And like, I was like, this has got to go. This is complete bullshit. It's just not true. It's not that I'm like an asshole. It's just simply not true. That's the problem with the information. But everything else in the book is like fucking ultra top tier. Besides, I rewrote a lot of the sections that used big kind of flowery language. I rewrote a lot of the sections that used crazy ass words that require you to have to go off and do research to figure out what it is. I would just put the definition right after the word, or I would just rewrite the whole paragraph without using the word, but just using the definition. And I would just write it with like common parlance rather than I just pull the special terms out and just rewrite it without the special terms. That's what I did. But there's a lot of work. It's like probably 50% of the book or something like that was altered or rewritten or changed or adjusted. Nice.
Well, I am going to read it, but as you can see, I've been, like I said, I was busy because I've been making all these courses in school and stuff like that, but it's right there. I'm going to start reading it. I got a bookmark right here. So, we'll do it.
There you go, brother.
Thank you. And I'll get one out to you when I get my book done.
Yeah, I want to read that. That'll be great. I want to read the history of the money thing. That'll be great.
Oh, dude, there's so much. I thought I was going to have it done by January, but there's so much to cover in that book. It's voluminous. So, it's huge. But it's going to be worth it because once that book is out. Once that book is out, man, I'm telling you, like, anybody who thinks that that the thing about the money is all BS or whatever like that, you just give them that book and have them read it, and they'll come back going, we need to fix this crap. They're going to be on board. Like, no, we need gold and silver back now. Like, this is crazy.
You ever seen the website, what the fuck WTF happened in 1971.com? It's a website that just has graphs. It's just graphs, 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 graphs. And it's like literally every single negative aspect of a society and its direct relation to inflation, like insanity, crime. Literally everything is tied to happened in 1971.com. And it's just graphs all the way down. And
oh, wow.
It's the exact point when Nixon took us off the gold standard, just like we were talking about earlier. And it's literally like every single negative statistic, mental health, emotional health, educational statistics, physical health, insanity, crime, murder, rape. Every single negative thing about a society can be directly related to being converted to a fiat currency and being converted to inflation. Inflation is literally the primary reason for the entire downfall and every single negative aspect of any society.
Well, that's very interesting. That makes a lot of sense because that means that the value of production went down. By inflating the money, the value of production. When people produce, they're always in a better mental state, mental condition, emotionally better. But if you're producing and you get nothing for that production, that is essentially slavery. And what they've done is using the fiat currencies, they turn people into slaves because all their production now has no value.
Exactly.
So and that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, the money conversation is not just about paying bills or about money. It's about the literal mental, physical, and spiritual health of the people in a nation. It's so much bigger than just money, and I don't think people really understand that.
No, they don't. No, people just go, I need money. People, yeah. We could do all that stuff. That's why I'm helping people set up PMAs and stuff like that, because what I'm trying to do is help people learn the tools that they need to do to create currency for themselves, for their family, and stuff like that. So doing the PMA stuff, which eventually I'll have up on school, I want to do some stuff. I want to have a nice thing set up and then show people how to create. We're going to do everything. Like, we're not just talking about setting up the PMAs, but also structuring it internally so that way it creates value, production, and it exchanges with society in a way where it's creating great products, high value products that people want, or high value services that people want to take. So that way nobody has a reason to suffer in a financial crash, because everyone will have a way to escape it while doing what they enjoy doing, or while they're doing something they're passionate about. Right? So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing. What's that?
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm going to be showing people. So that's going to be in there because I started my guitar school with $20.
Hell yeah.
$20 is how I got started. And that's all it takes to get started, right? That $20 was an investment, and that $20 has made me a whole school. I got a whole damn school, right, which crosses over states. So we're talking. This is national, a whole national business. Right?
Hell yeah!
So, if you could do it $20, we could do it $50. We could do it $100. Put some money aside. These people can make this stuff happen. So, that's what I'm going to help people do.
I love it, man.
While not having to give any to the government.
I found 18 U.S.C. 912 is a felony up to 3 years for impersonating a government officer, which is essentially what you're doing when you're paying taxes, because taxes are paid for someone who's in a public office.
That's right. So,
and as per 26 U.S.C. 7701 subsection A20 39, which is the residents that are outside of the District of Columbia are treated as though they're in the District of Columbia for purposes of the summons and enforcement of summons, and that's just for USC 72 in different clothes. And so I realized paying taxes and filing a tax report or tax return in any way is actually a felony violation of 18 USC 912. So, like, 18 U.S.C. 911 is a felony violation of saying that you're a U.S. citizen when you're not, but you have to willfully. It has willfully in the definition. So if you don't know that you're doing it, it wouldn't technically be an 18 U.S.C. 911, but that would only apply to, like, a W-9 form. But, like, for a 1040, I was like, would an 18 U.S.C. 911 apply for a 1040? No, it wouldn't. But an 18 U.S.C. 912 would apply to a 1040 because willfully and intent is not part of 18 U.S.C. 912. If you have no idea at all that you are impersonating a government officer, you're still violating up to 3-year felony 18 U.S.C. 912. So even if you're not aware, a 1040 or any of the W4, any of the other forms would technically be up to 3-year felony violation, and it's not willful. It's not based on intent like a 901 is. So it's actually a massive felony. You're putting yourself at massive risk by paying these things.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't do it. So that, and then the PMA structure, of course, it's all donation-based exclusivity, and it's nonprofit, so there's no taxable income. And then I show people how to operate through that, how we set up a trust or if needed for that. And then it's actually pretty thorough. And then how we actually create things in order to drum up business, to get the business going, to repair the business when it's starting to have its downfalls and stuff like that. So it's actually really, it's probably one of the best things I think to offer out there, is to give people some kind of remedy for the problems that they're facing with this crazy shit going on out there.
It is wild. It is wild.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, anything else you want to add to this? We've been going for 3.5 hours. I'm pretty cooked. We play some music, but I'm getting over being sick. I think I'll do a rain check on the music till next time.
Next time, yeah.
Next time
I got the 7-string. I got a mandocello. Oh no, this is not a mandocello. This is a baritone tenor guitar.
Next time I'll pull her out and I'll get her tuned up beforehand, and maybe we'll do Hermaphrodite 2. What do you think? Hermaphrodite the Return. You know what I mean? For those of you who haven't seen our Hermaphrodite song, you can go on my. I'll just do a quick last minute share here for those who have not seen Joe and I's amazing work. You're going to go on to the greatest website in the world, onestupidfuck.com. You're going to go to my stupid bio. You're going to scroll down past the greatest photo on the planet, and you're going to go all the way down to somewhere in the middle here. There's some videos of me doing goofy shit. And here's a music video that I shot with a friend of mine, Christian. You're going to go below that, and here is The Glory. This is the Hermaphrodite song here. This was like 2.5, 3 years ago, Joe.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
You're going to see Promises. That's a great song. And then you're going to see Accidental Millionaire. This is the one where Joe lost it and started laughing his ass off. So,
the bacon and eggs song, man. That was the
I got bacon and eggs right here.
Oh, it's on here.
Here's bacon and eggs.
Oh my
There's
God.
Lusty right there. This is from 2011, I believe. This is actually a studio that we rented in New York City off of 42nd Street, off of 8th Avenue, somewhere 38th Street or something.
It's like 38th and
on 8th Avenue.
Between 8th and 9th, I think, or between 8th and 7th or something like that.
Yeah, we just decided one night we're going to go and go
we
nuts.
had a blast, though.
We had a blast. So, and his wife is actually the one shooting this video, but I don't think you were married at that time. I think you were just dating.
Yeah, we weren't married yet. But, dude, I remember, so in this video, like, this is only one little clip, but we all circled all of these instruments in there. At one point, Brandon was playing keyboards. Another point, he was playing drums. I was playing drums, guitar, obviously. And then we all swapped around because all three of us are multi-instrumentalists. And I remember there was one, I was playing drums and you were on keyboard, and Sean was playing guitar, and you were singing about Shake Shack, and I was fucking dying. Can I have a body of Shake Shack?
Well, the reason why this was so funny is because the guy who's in the drums in the video, his name is Zach.
Zach.
And he owed me money for food, and he had no money for food. So we were fucking with him. I was fucking with him by making all this music about food that's so delicious that you can't afford. And that's where the whole bacon and eggs thing came from, and Shake Shack. And I'm like, oh, delicious steak burger. Yeah, gonna eat it. You can't have a bite. Fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. That was the whole point of like fucking with Zach. And when you watch the video, you can literally see Zach is like out of it. He's so fucking hungry. He's like out of it. And we're just like fucking with him. But he was a good sport. He enjoyed it. But just boys will be boys kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. We had a blast that day, man. Oh my god, that was so much fun. I think that we could have just took that 2 hours and just turned it into an album if we had the whole recording.
Definitely. Especially with the feedback loop with the microphone. That was your favorite.
Oh my god.
You lost it.
I lost it.
That's in the video, by the way. That's the best part of the video.
Oh, yeah. And no beard. It's a video where I have no beard in there.
Yeah.
I had shaved for some reason.
We both look like kids 15 years ago, Joe. 15 years.
Yeah.
15 years since we were baking and egging it, man. 15 years.
Yeah. And Highlandering it.
Highlandering it, dude. And going down these big hills in New Jersey on these scooters. Scooter feels like it's going to explode.
Razor scooters. These scooters were made for like 10-year-olds. Here we are, grown men.
We got swords and we got the trench coat. And
we're fine. We're immortal, remember?
We're immortal, yeah. All we can die is get our heads cut off, you know?
Oh, man. Well, it's good seeing you, man. Good hanging out with you.
We'll do another one. We won't take 2.5 years for the next one, I don't think.
No.
All right, man. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Peace.
Peace.